Good morning, everybody. We are back for another episode of Around the Indoor Football World, and we are joined by Trey from Off the Wall. Good morning, Trey. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, y'all. I am doing well, ready for the final week of a couple leagues here, and no shortage of things and stuff to talk about. So I'm excited to dive into it. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. Always happy to have you on. And I actually owe you an episode of Turf Talk one of these days, or Turf
Yeah,
Tape, sorry.
absolutely.
So yeah, we'll definitely have to line that up. I haven't forgotten about you, I swear.
You're a busy man. I understand.
Definitely. Krish, how are you doing this morning? Probably a little hungover from the game last night.
Yeah, there's three phases of grief, and I think I'm on the third phase of acceptance. So I'm ready to move on, honestly.
There you go. It's definitely been a long season if you're a Massachusetts fan, so I can't say I blame you there. But I mean, there's like Trey said, there's a lot to talk about this week. I mean, any particular league you want to start with, Krish?
I think we can start with the NAL or maybe AF1. AF1 will be cool.
Okay. I mean, really, the only topic of discussion for today, as far as the AF1 that I had on, was the expansion of the Washington Wolfpack front office. They've definitely made some efforts this offseason to hopefully build up a little bit better foundation. Brought in a new general manager, and now they're looking to add a front office person, adding to their front office with a ticket sales position and a marketing person. So I wanted to go ahead and get your guys' idea or your thoughts on this particular situation. And with Washington, I mean, how do you guys feel about Washington adding to their front office and hopefully potentially, bringing in some more revenue to overhaul this roster for 2026? Let's go to Trey first on this one.
Yeah, I think it's always a good thing to see teams invest in themselves, and in situations like this where it's like, okay, they saw a blatant need to bring in some reinforcements and build out the logistics part of their business, because that's the stuff that doesn't really come to light a lot of times. When you're talking about arena and indoor football, it's like, okay, yeah, you see this stuff on the field, you get excited for player signings, coach signings, but there's a lot that goes into making the entire world of an organization go around. So to see them invest in some of these things is really good to see, especially given some of the struggles that they had on the field the past couple seasons. Hopefully this helps make things a little bit easier for the organization going forward. And it seems like they're following the rubric or the template that a couple other teams in the arena football world have followed. And hopefully they'll experience some of those same successes.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly how I feel about it. Krish, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think these are potentially large moves for Washington, or do you think we're making a little bit too much of it?
Yeah, Trey hit it on the nail. I mean, Miguel, the previous GM, obviously, we know him on Twitter, but his experience is in the wrestling business, right? And so I wonder how much that really translates over to the arena football space. And so I think it's important to get people with the actual sport background in the building so they can kind of build. And I think, as the off the field product kind of build itself, the on the field product will have to follow. I think there should be some more changes on that end as well. But I think they want to focus on the business model, build it up. I can tell you, like, there's a lot of key players coming back to Washington next year. A lot of key guys. I expect to see maybe 4 or 5 of the main guys back with the Wolfpack. So they're building on for sure.
Definitely. I personally think this is a step in the right direction. Trey said it best. I mean, they're kind of following the pathway laid out by, previous teams that have kind of started off from scratch and kind of had to build up from there. And honestly, for all of the talk that we've, had about Washington's on-field performance, the stuff they do off the field is great. I mean, as far as that goes, it seems like they're very engaged with their community. They're very, very active on social media and stuff like that. So I think they've definitely got a good foundation to build what could be a long-lasting team. And hopefully these moves kind of to just stabilize their future and, like I mentioned before, bring in some more revenue. So they could hopefully spend a little bit more on that roster and be a little bit more competitive in 2026. Now, the other flip side of this, Do you guys see J.R. Wells returning to Washington? What do you, Krish? I know you've got some thoughts on this. I'll go to you first on this one.
I don't have a problem with Coach Wells. As a man, I think he's a great guy. But I have a problem with the results. And I think the fact that the results are acceptable, 4-14, they're losing games by 40, 50 points. That falls on coaches at the end of the day. And so he needs to look in the mirror and understand, I need to bring in help. I need to bring in a veteran mentor. Because if he doesn't do that, it's going to be the same results. And so I think he needs to realize that, take a step back. And it's hard sometimes. You got to check yourself. But I think he's capable of doing it. But I think they're committed to him because he's local. He lives there. He lives in Seattle. He lives in the community. And that's the main reason, right? But I still think, I think they are committed to bring him back in 2026. But I still think we're so early in the offseason. We're still in July. Stuff can change. So they'll reevaluate it. I think he should still be with that organization, whether he's the head coach or, Trey, you mentioned this a while ago in one of my chats about, promoting him to a business role, president, director of ops, giving him that, involvement with the organization, because he helped create the foundation, right? So he can build it. But, he doesn't need to be the head coach necessarily,
I like that idea. Trey, can you kind of expand on that and give us your thoughts on Coach Wells?
Yeah, I think Wells is the spark plug of that organization. He brings the energy. Like anytime, like some of the interviews they did when like they had Vice games, they'd be down 30, 40 points at halftime, and he'd be like, "Let's go, we're ready to ride." So like he brings that infectious positivity, which is great, and he could clearly wants to see this thing succeed. But as Krish mentioned, the success just hasn't followed on the field at this point, and it reaches a point where it's like, okay, they're going to be entering year 3, and we got to start seeing something. So if that's bringing in an arena vet guy, like when I say arena vet guy, someone who has been coaching in the game for an extended period of time, someone who was a 10-year plus vet in the 2000s, like explore the options to see what type of offensive creativity they could bring, because the defense played pretty well last year. They were put in bad spots constantly. So I think if they can bring in some help, I think Wells can certainly be the head coach of the future and forever for Washington. But the on the field stuff just has to get cleaned up, and it has to get better because it can't get worse.
Yeah, that's fair. Completely fair. I mean, they've had a rough stretch over the past 2 seasons, but I think, again, off the field wise, I think I've gained a lot of respect for Washington. For them to be able to have made it through that ugly 2024 season, which honestly, if I was a betting man before 2024 and we started to see the league crumble, I would have put Washington on the top of that list for disappearing along with some of those teams. I mean, they outlasted some of the more established teams that were in the league, which was impressive to me. So obviously they're doing something right behind the scenes, at least financially. So, I mean, I would love to see this organization find some success because I think they're fun. They're fun to watch. J.R. Wells is one of the most energetic coaches I've ever met or had the pleasure to speak with. And you have to root for the guy once you meet him. He's just one of those people that he's just such a good person. It's hard to root against him. So, I mean, I like the idea of not necessarily getting rid of him, or, if you're going to move on from him as a coach, keep him with the organization somehow. Like that just makes so much sense. And I think that's probably the best course of action if they decided to bring in a different head coach. But I also like you guys' suggestions, bring in a veteran coordinator, some sort of help. I honestly, does he even have coordinators? I mean, I really haven't paid that close of attention to his staff, but Krish, you would probably know better than I would.
No, the defensive coordinator they have there is like 23. He's fresh out of college. So He has veteran coordinators. He calls offense and special teams as well.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's tough ask for anybody as well. So, I mean, more power to him. I mean, he's doing an admirable job considering the resources that are provided to him currently. I think with a little bit better talent on that team, we might see a totally different Wolfpack team. We've got some questions rolling in. Trey's in the chat. Y'all think the IFL should change its schedule format because my Oilers got robbed of the 2 seed because of the imbalanced scheduling SOS. Trey, we will come back to that in a little while when we get to the IFL segment. Ryan's tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, Ryan. We appreciate it. Got to get you back on at some point this summer as well. Washington ownership buying the team from the AFL was the smartest thing any of the 2024 expansion teams did. That's a good point. Same would be great if Washington could be competitive next year. Trey, do not laugh.
I'm having a great time. I don't know what Ryan's talking about.
That I'm just saying, sir, that polo is awfully clean.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Had to flex it for y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I might have to get me one of those. Those are pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's go. Let's level up.
Yeah, yes, sir. Better than the T-shirt I'm rocking right now. That's for sure. Anything else in the AF1 that I may have missed over the past couple of weeks that you guys would like to discuss today before we move on?
Nothing major, but I think we're gonna see some announcements here. Not soon, but over the next month and a half. That should be really exciting, and will provide plenty of talking points in the future. So, you've alluded to it many times, Sam. This is going to be a very, very interesting offseason up ahead, and it's going to be fun to see how all the dominoes fall.
Yes. And I think, obviously, it seems like the IFL is fairly stable from what I know currently, but it's looking like there could be a lot of turnover in the AF1 and a lot of turnover in the NAL. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how those leagues coexist in 2026. Because as of right now, it sounds like there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So it's going to be a very interesting offseason.
I do want to ask this one question to you guys: which AF1 teams do you feel like you could see possibly switching to the IFL?
To the IFL?
Yes.
If we're talking from AF1 to IFL, I think realistically Nashville could do it in a heartbeat. I think Albany could do it as well. Although I think Damon Ware has made it very clear that he's perfectly happy in the AF1. Really, there aren't too many teams in the AF1 that I don't think could make it in the IFL, to be honest. Southwest Kansas, Salina, I think they'd fit right in. Nashville, Albany, Washington, maybe. I wouldn't feel too comfortable with them currently. Oregon, same thing.
I think Wookie nailed it in the chat. I think geographically the Kansas teams probably would make the most sense if anybody was to jump, but I think that the AF1 group is kind of bonded by trauma at this point from the past 2 years, and they're like, look, we've been through hell and back together. Let's keep it going. So it seems like they're going to be sticking around.
It's very possible. It's very possible for sure. There is something to be said about that. But as far as who could make the jump and make it work, I think honestly the vast majority of the league could. It's just a matter of if the IFL wants those teams. Yeah. Any other AF1 subjects or anything else to discuss before we kind of move on? And like Wookie said, it's a little quiet at the moment, but we've definitely got some announcements coming down the pike here soon. All righty. Well, we're going to hit a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back with some AIF news, some interesting AIF news.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
All right. The big news coming out of the AIF this week is the fact that the Coralville Chaos have rebranded to the North Michigan Muskies. What are you guys' opinion on this branding? I'm going to pull it up right here so we could show the crowd out there. But what are you guys' thoughts on the branding, the rebrand, and why do you think they moved away from the Coralville Chaos name? Let's go to Trey first on this one.
Yeah, the AIF is a bit of a blind spot for me, so I don't have a ton to really contribute here. But rebrand wise, I thought it was pretty clean from what they went. Like I like the chaos. The chaos was pretty sweet. Like it's always cool to see like that color rush aesthetic in arena ball. Like they were rocking the all yellow and it was loud and in your face, very Duluth like. But yeah, I like the logo and branding that they switched up to, very reminiscent of the Minnesota Fighting Pike. Very like it gives that type of energy. So I think it's pretty cool. And I don't know if it's better or worse. I feel like it's about the same because, like I said, I thought the chaos was pretty sweet, but I think they did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's terrible. Krish, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the logo. I mean, I think it makes sense, establish a regional rivalry with West Michigan. I'm sure those two will play, ton of times. I think this is only, I believe, I was looking it up yesterday, only like 3 hours away from each other. So they should be playing each other a good amount. But, it saves money for the league. I don't really take that league seriously at all, honestly. I think it's a developmental product, if I'm being honest. I think it's, they need to focus on what the league is, what their identity is. And I don't think they have an identity. I think it's just a bunch of teams playing for fun at this point. I mean, I know, certain teams pay, certain teams don't. It's not a league yet. So they need to figure out what their league is and if it is a league going forward.
Interesting. Some of the teams don't pay. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, I believe the Chaos don't pay.
Interesting. I guess we'll see if see what happens this season and see if that changes. Are they under new ownership? Is that the whole thing that Montero sold them?
I think he's owning the Wyoming team, the Cedar Rapids team, and I believe he's still owning this team, from what I understand.
Really?
Right.
Wow. That's a lot to bite off. More power to the guy that if he thinks he can make that work. What are you guys' thoughts about them expanding to Pennsylvania? I know that's a little bit of old news at this point, but I don't think I ever actually asked your guys' opinions on that. I mean, it seemed like kind of an odd fit market-wise for the rest of the markets that they have in the league currently. Krish, what do you think on that one?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a semi-pro team. This team, the Pennsylvania Union, they've been saying they were going to play for the past 5 years. So, I mean, they haven't played. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense. I can't see an Iowa team traveling up with that league and their budgets. There's no way they can make that travel work. So I think that team is a lost cause. And I've been hearing things, from people I know that live in the area that it's not legit. So I don't believe it at all, honestly.
That's fair. That's fair. Any thoughts, Trey?
No, like I said, this is a blind spot for me, so I'll lean on y'all for the expertise there.
That's fair. That's fair for sure. It does look like, according to their announcement, there may be some new ownership coming for the Muskies, so that's interesting. It'll be something to follow along with there. Their website is awesome, by the way. I don't know if anybody's checked it out. It is very well done. But yeah, the Pennsylvania Union is definitely an odd one for me. I just came out of left field when I heard about it, and honestly, like I said, it seems like a very odd fit to the league. But I can't say it really surprises me that the AIF is just taking virtually whatever team shows interest. Any other AIF news, Krish, that you know of that you want to touch on?
I read that I guess Mike McCoy no longer the commissioner of the league. I think the head coach of that's another thing, like this new leadership for the league, the head coach of this Michigan team. So he's the new commissioner, I guess.
Oh, the West Michigan Ironman. That's right. I forgot about that. I have actually heard our good buddy Mike McCoy might be resurfacing on another team here shortly. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands. But there is That is an interesting change there, but actually, I think it might be a good one. West Michigan is definitely an established team; they've been around, so I think maybe having somebody who's a little bit more experienced in leadership could be a good thing for the league. So I guess we'll see the direction of the league going forward. But we've talked on it a little bit, but I think they would be one of the leagues that I think would be better off by finding a merge with somebody else in the region and just going that direction and bringing in more teams that way. But
I think West Michigan needs to join the NAL. They need to bite the bullet and join the NAL, man. I mean, it's or the TAL or something because TAL would actually make a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know what satisfaction you get out of blowing teams out by 50, 60, 70 points. Like, well, what does that bring to you, man? That community supports the team like crazy. Man, I wish we had that attendance up here. The attendance they get, I mean, they pat that building out. But again, they have a lot of local players. The quarterback played there. He was with the Lions in camp. I think you're probably familiar with him, Trey. He's a baller up there. He's a legend in the community. So I don't know. I think the NAL, but what teams could really make it, right? Could Cedar Rapids make it? Cedar Rapids needs a full offseason with Coach Kranz. Rick Kranz is down there. He's going to sell a bunch of sponsorships, and especially with the rebrand, I say give him 1 year with the Titans name, and then they'll be ready to join, in my opinion.
so you think that's kind of the future of that league, kind of being the jumping off point for teams to jump into other leagues, or is that what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Don Montero needs to look in the mirror. I mean, this is his, this is becoming a beer league for him. He needs to look in the mirror and understand. Like the AL too, they know their place. Me and Coach McGrowan were talking about this on the show when I had him on. He was like, AL too, like they know their spot. They know their developmental league. They're not trying to be a pro league. So what is this league? What's the identity? So I think, we just need to figure that out.
That's fair. Coach B is joining us and would like to get in on this topic. Coach B, if you're ready, feel free to chime in, my friend. All right, we'll hold off for a minute.
How you guys doing today?
Doing great. How you doing, Coach?
All right. Give me a second to get situated, man. I was dealing with a little one like you today, Shady.
You're good. I get it.
On that topic, man, I've been actually going back and forth all week on that topic because he moved the team from Coralville, which is a great location. It's actually about 15, 20 minutes outside of Dubuque, and they need professional sports there. He moved it because he wasn't doing any marketing and stuff up there. I think if they did the marketing, they could have stayed there. Perfect arena. Now you move it to another arena where you got to start all over, in another city where you got to start all over from the beginning, which is going to be hard. I think this league is a money grab league because you're just putting teams in there and you're the owner of every team. How is that possible? Like, no, only one other team in there has a different owner, and I feel like they don't even need to be in that league. They're too good for that league. The AIF, in my opinion, is just a money grab right now to fill pockets. But they do have a team in West Michigan can play in the NAL, IFL, or the AF1 to me. I think that team is getting so short, and it needs to be in a better league. The other teams in that league, Cedar Rapids would never be able to compete on a high level with an NAL team, or the Michigan Muskies would never be able to compete.
Coach, I wanna second you. Cedar Rapids, if you see their signings, they're signing a lot of quality talent. So I think they could compete.
No, they can't. That talent is not quality. If you think that's quality talent, I'm going to reevaluate your scouting job as well. Just being honest with you.
I'm saying this year. I'm not saying the team they had this past year. I'm saying the team that Kranz.
Bro, Kranz just signed a 60-year-old player. They just haven't announced it. They're signing players who's 50. They signed Latimer, the one guy, Silver Surfer. He calls himself.
Yeah, I know Lomir, but like that's one guy. I mean, at the end of the day, like Tierra Turner, right? That's a Davenport lineman starting
I'm
off
telling
guy
you,
on
gotta realize, I know the insight on this. I worked for Dom last year. I was the reason why we sold the team, and I couldn't work with him because I wasn't getting any help in Council Bluff with the AIF team we had with the River City Raid. So made him sell the team so we can get in the AF1, which was a bad idea too, because Trevor didn't do any better than him. But what I'm telling you, they're signing players. I've got 4 or 5 players from Kansas City I know that Dom calls and gives them $100 a game just to come and play with them. And they would never make the GOATS roster or any roster I've ever owned. They just pay people off the couch. He calls people off the couch to play. He probably assigned 1 or 2 quality guys, but he's paying them $100, $75. That's not a real stipend. That's another thing. Like, you're not really paying players. So don't be talking about, oh, they getting their checks after the game. $75. You can't. I don't even call myself a professional player.
You have a point. There's definitely a line that we could draw in the sand there as far as what you're getting paid to determine the difference between professional and semi-professional football. And I think there's definitely it's probably somewhere above $75 a game, if we're being honest here. So, we all kind of know how this world works. Obviously, a good chunk of the guys in the IFL aren't really making 250 and in the various leagues as well. So I see your point there for sure. I do think they are getting some decent players in there. There was a wide receiver they signed recently that was with Jacksonville for a while. And there's a linebacker from Louisville that I'm intrigued by. So, there's some guys, but I can see
Yeah,
your
that's what I'm
point.
saying. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they're gonna beat up on the NAL teams. I'm saying like if Shreveport to be in the NAL with the team they add and the guys I know they're bringing back next year, this Cedar Rapid Titan team can most definitely could be in the NAL. Coach B, come on now.
Then my Dubuque team can be in the NAL because I bet you $100 my Dubuque team will put 100 points on Cedar Rapids.
I think the Iowa Power definitely could be in the NAL talent wise.
Just to give you a heads up, we got an offer from what I've heard. But I don't think Bartley was ready, and I'm just being honest. And I applaud him as an owner for being a first year owner and just being, if you're not ready, don't join no league because you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt your franchise. Build it up, build everything, build everything where it needs to be, and then you move to a bigger league. And you gotta get your fan base. You got to get your fan base on board. You got to build up your sponsorships. Jump into a big league so quick is very ill advised as an owner because you're already losing so much money in your first 3 years. To me, I think you need to put yourself in a viable position where you can at least break even.
No, that's completely fair. No, I think it's not the worst idea in the world to start the team in another league and play and at least get some games under your belt, build up that fan base, and then if you want to make a move, but know what you have built already before you make that move and put yourself at on the hook for what it's going to cost to run an NAL team, which I've heard is anywhere from $375,000 a year all the way up to $500,000. So if that's the case and they have a very reasonable salary cap number, then you really have to kind of prepare ahead of time to make it work. So I think that's a personal decision that Bartley made, and I got a lot of respect for him, and he definitely seems like he wants to do it the right way. So there's probably a good reason why he made that decision.
Another thing, Sam, you got to think about what is everybody's problem lately. Arena lease. I think we probably got one of the cheapest arena leases in the country. And I can say last year, I know for a fact I negotiated the cheapest arena lease in Council Bluff. We were paying 4,500 a week. That's unheard of. So I mean a game, 4,500 a game. But I've heard some arenas like in Kansas City. I know why we don't have a team there. They want 15 grand a game.
Woo, that's
Ev-
insane.
The cheapest arena in Kansas City wants 9,000 plus an extra 5 for setup and takedown.
That's tough. That's tough for any team to stomach. So I definitely can't say I blame you for or blame them for moving out of Kansas City. Coach O'Neill tuning in. We appreciate you, tuning in and watching, Coach. We'll have to get you back on at some point this off season. Let's shift gears a little bit. Play a quick commercial, and we'll come back. Let's talk NAL. There's some pretty fairly big NAL news that came out this past week that we'll get to. Some coaching changes that will be coming down the pike as well. So there's a lot of big NAL news coming as well. So we'll shift over to the NAL. All right. Well, it looks like the Wheeling Miners will have a new coach for the 2026 season, as it was announced earlier this week that head coach Joshua Resignaldo has decided to resign after 2 seasons with the team. Trey, I know you're not as big of an NAL fan as you are other leagues, but what are your thoughts on this move?
I'm working on it. I was dialed in. Dialed in this season. I think it's an interesting move that is. I don't know if it's like foreshadowing of what's to come for Wheeling, because it seemed like Coach Rez was really the straw that stirred the drink there, and both on the field and off the field. So hopefully, I like Wheeling as a team, and I think that's an underserved sporting community. I think they're such a good fit for that area of the country. So hopefully it means well for them, and Coach Rez just got an offer he couldn't refuse from another team and is doing what's best for him. But yeah, it seemingly came out of nowhere, but based on how it was kind of rolled out, it seemed like it was in the works for a little bit.
It definitely seemed like he had made this decision before the end of the season, and maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions, but it came fairly quickly after the year ended. So it definitely seems like we're leaning that direction. Trey, we will get to your question, sir. We are still not on the IFL segment, my friend. We will get there. Don't worry. Krish, what are your thoughts on Coach Rez moving on?
Yeah, that's my guy. We were talking the other day. Obviously, he's a free agent. He's looking for the next best opportunity. I will say this about Wheeling. If Sean Lyotta gets the head coaching job, I'm not watching the NAL at all next year. I'm just making it clear. Chris Mott is Coach Mott, defense coordinator. He's the only one that deserves the head coaching job. He's from Wheeling. He earned it. He earned it this year. So he better be the head coach. I'm telling you, man, if Duffy pulls any of that political shit, man, I'm done. I'm done with the NAL. I'm just making that clear. So that's my message. But no, Coach Rez, man, he needs to go arena style, man. I think he'll cook in the AF1, man. I know he's looking at all the options, he's evaluating everything when we talked, and he's gonna find a good spot. That's one of the best football minds there is, man. Defensively, the way defense performed this year, yeah, Coach Rez is one of them ones. So I think he'll be a great asset to any staff. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach, he can do it all. So he just needs some stability behind him. Your ownership is supposed to be, your ownership is the foundation, right? You can only do so much. So I think ownership in Wheeling, they need to decide kind of what direction they want to go with the franchise.
I'm intrigued by your thought process on Sean Lyotta. Why are you so against him being the head coach?
I'm not going to go too much into it, but obviously I think body language is one thing. Last year, his body language was pretty horrible. I'm on the sideline, and he's a great guy. I hope this is not foreshadowing something, but he's a great guy. He's a nice family guy, but I don't think he's ready to be a head coach. His offense was horrible. He looked like he was, calling plays off Madden. Honestly, if you watch, I mean, I think I know a ton of better play callers in the country than him. I think Rez should have called the offense. I told Rez this too. Like, if you call the offense since day one, the team would have made the playoffs. So, Lyota's an arena guy. He's not an indoor guy. So don't try to make indoor coaches like arena coaches, indoor coaches. They're not. So I'm not. Yeah. I'm not with it, man. I'm just not with it.
Okay. Elijah, we have not gotten to the TAL segment yet. We will be getting to that here shortly. Leota also had a ton going on via the Wilkes-Barre Scranton debacle. Coach O'Neill says Iowa IFL for Rez would be a great look. Would be interesting. Love Coach Mogensen. Something tells me Iowa's going to be looking at coaches this offseason. There might be some change there. 8 wins over various years is getting to be a little bad. Or is it 18?
18, yeah.
Yeah, 18. Sorry about that. So didn't mean to short you 10 wins there, Coach. Quentin Humphrey says, good morning, gentlemen. I hope all is well. Haran O'Neill is an indoor coach and he can coach arena. Just saying. Coach O is a unique man. He also called offense and defense last year for the majority of the season. Fired his defensive coordinator, I think, after like 3 games and took back over. He is a very
and he wasn't playing too. Coach B's boy, Larache Jackson, man. I Coach B, I made a bet with you that Larache wouldn't last more than 2 weeks in Salina. He lasted 30, so I lost. But I like Larache. He just wasn't ready for that job.
Yeah, pay up, buddy. I don't think he wasn't ready. I think people got to understand Larache. I hired Larache for a reason because I knew I could control Larache. You got to handle him a certain way. When it comes to being a professional, he's still learning. He's a year or two removed from being a player. But when you're talking one of the best minds in the game, I don't think pound for pound, he's going to be one of the best D coordinators out here. He knows the game. He knows the IFL. He knows the AFL. He knows the CIFL, the CFL. He done played in every league. I've looked at his playbook, talk X's and O's with him. The man knows the game. He just got to get more professional. So that's the only thing on his end.
To respond to that, let me respond. I mean, you shouldn't have to control a coach. Right? A coach should come in and be controlled, right? So you start as an assistant and then you become a coordinator. Don't try to rush the process. So I think the process was rushed. I mean, you see how the defense did against Corpus Christi. The first couple of times it wasn't hot, and I don't think he was ready for that role yet, Coach.
Not necessarily controlling Chris, but you as the head coach, you set the standard, you set the tone for your organization. You let your coaches know how it was. Last year, am I telling the story? If I told LeBron he better be on the evening, he running that meeting. He did that, didn't he? So it's all about you as the head coach. You got to set standards, and you got to know who you hiring and what you're hiring as well.
That's fair. Okay, here's a good point. Cedric Walker can coach both styles, so there are coaches who can and do succeed.
Yes. Okay, out of 100 coaches, how many can? Let's just ask that question. Out of 100 coaches,
there's a lot of them, honestly. I mean, if we really wanted to break it down, Rob Keefe, I mean, he's another guy who's been found success on both sides of the ball, and really been able to be successful as a coordinator, a head coach, really whatever role he's held, his teams have been successful. So I think he definitely qualifies. There's others. I wasn't prepared for this question.
I do agree with Chris because me and him talked about this quite a lot. Certain coaches fit better, get better win percentages in the IFL because that's their style. Like Coach O. Coach O is one of the winningest head coaches in the IFL. He fits the IFL better than he fits the AFL. He can coach the AFL, but he's going to be more successful in the IFL. That's his niche. Clint Dozier can coach IFL, but he's going to be more successful in the AFL. You got to think about that. Though, like the guy down at NAZ, Ron James, He can coach IFL, but he's more successful as an AFL coach. He's not a real IFL coach. So we got to take heed. You just because you're a good coach don't mean you can coach the indoor style. And a lot of people don't take heed that indoor style is different than arena style. Much as they say it's all arena football, it's still a different version. Indoor is still like outdoors. You can draw up outdoor schemes in indoor football. Arena style football, 90% pass, 10% run. People don't understand that. You cannot bring the spread offense to the AFL and think you're going to be successful and win a championship. I mean, the uh the read option. You can do it. You can win a championship with the read option in the AFL. I mean, in the IFL, but not the AFL. Just be realistic with yourself. You're not going to come in the AFL and run the ball all the time. That's a passing league. IFL is a mixed 50-50 league.
I'll just leave that one on the table. That's a debate for another day. Because there's offenses in both leagues that have done, have run schemes that were more adept to the other leagues. So, I mean, I think that's all, subjective to a certain extent. I mean, Bay Area runs a lot of fullback stuff, a lot of arena style concepts. So I think at the end of the day, they're very successful in the IFL because they can do both. They can absolutely run the ball, but they kind of prepare themselves for really both styles, I feel. And, Southwest Kansas, they ran a lot in an
Shady,
AF1.
quick question. They haven't won a title since they ran the read option offense, though, right? The IFL style. When they've been running that AFL style, they have not won a championship, have they, in Bay Area?
I mean, I'd have to look back. I don't recall if they had those aspects of the offense in there when Wooten was there, but I mean,
The quarterback that went
they're
to
one of the top
Arizona.
teams this season, and they're running that offense. So I have a hard time. Have they won a championship yet? No. Are they one of the favorite teams to do so this year? Yes. So,
Yeah, they'll be fine, coach. They went 1 year without winning a championship. They were number one seed last year. They're winning a championship this year. I'm very confident, and we'll get to that. But no, I mean, it takes time to adjust.
So I've one other subject that I wanted to bring up, and one that we've kind of talked about a lot, but I'm hearing that the announcement for Pueblo should be coming very quickly for the National Arena League. We kind of knew this was coming. Obviously, you're a Colorado team. There's another Colorado team. You're probably going to the NAL. I've said it on here multiple times before, but they are getting to the point where I believe we'll have an announcement over the next couple of weeks. I had heard that there may be a certain recording artist that performs down in Pueblo over the next couple of weeks that may be helping do the announcement. We'll just trickle that out there. People can read between the lines there. I'm pretty excited about it myself, so we'll see how things go. But definitely excited for the Pueblo announcement and to have a clear-cut direction. I'm not sure if anybody's been following along, but they have been rolling out sponsors left, right, and center. So that's always a good sign for a brand new team. I'm very excited to see them building what looks like a really good foundation for a brand.
It's still not built like Ricky, because Ricky can actually write his own press releases. They use AI. So just pointing that out.
You're comparing a brand new team to one of the most established teams in the country. So
Trey,
I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say, like, they are a first year team. Everybody, y'all gotta realize every team don't have a marketing budget, budget, a PR budget. That takes time to build that up, Chris. And I've been telling you that for months. Every team don't do that. That's why we need that. What Sam said that one show, we need that symposium where the coaches do a little all coaches and owners get together and talk about how to build arena up financially on the aspects of front office so it can last years from now. But you can't expect a first year team unless they got a billionaire owner like a Roy Coy or somebody to come in with just all kind of budgets.
Yeah, but to Krish's credit, I think the AI comment does Just like it makes sense. Like it's one of those things where just because you can doesn't mean you should all the time, or just because that's the easiest solution doesn't mean that's the right one. So I understand where he's coming from, where it's like, look, just because you hit Chat GPT, it said, hey, please generate logo. Cool, copy, paste, send. Like that definitely shouldn't be the process either. But yeah, I understand both sides of it. And I think there's room to meet in the middle there.
I would agree. The one thing that I always kind of caution everybody, I know there is hate out there for AI. You know, I'm one of those people. I get it. AI is something that I never wanted to see get to this point, but here we are. You know, with that being said, if you're a brand new team and there's a way for you to, you know, get a service for free, I have a hard time arguing with that from a business perspective. I mean, if you can have an AI program that is 100% free, you write all your press releases, and while it is very clearly AI, they're professionally worded. You know, they read well. It's not, you know, butchered or anything like that. There's not spelling errors. So there's a lot to be said there. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing in the world for them to be using AI. Now, if they started using AI, you know, to like, I don't even know, you know, build it more into the organization, I could see the complaints. But for press releases on social media, I don't think it's a huge concern for me personally. But I think that we're also very early in their life. So there's a good chance that they end up bringing in a media person, you know, as we get closer to the season as well. So, you know, once they get some of these sponsorship funds rolling in, you know, they have the money to pay somebody. So I could see that coming soon.
And Sam, it's harder now to get interns too. Like most internships now, colleges want them to be paid if you don't have a 501c3. So a lot of arena teams, if you're LLC, make sure you start you up a 501c3 as well. That'll help you out on your back end stuff.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's technically a nonprofit organization, right?
Yes, that's a non-for-profit. And I feel like every for-profit sports team should have a non-for-profit arm, because that also helps your sponsors as a tax write-off.
Yep. Smart. I didn't realize that aspect of it, but that makes perfect sense. And that is definitely oh man, there's a great comment in here. Can't wait to read it. This one right here is hilarious. AI is the reason I passed my college classes. Something tells me you're not the only person who can say that right now.
But real quick before we move on here, can you bring up Ricky's comment again? I think this is I couldn't agree more, and I was trying to figure out how to work this into the conversation, so I'm very happy that he threw it in there so I didn't have to segue that. But I think on the topic of the NAL, I think the league as a whole and so many teams need to do better when it comes to social, when it comes to press releases, and something is better than nothing at all. And it's something where, like, you look at the month of June on X for the National Arena League account. How many posts do you think they made throughout the entire month of June? Keep in mind, this is their championship game month. How many posts did they make?
3.
Not a little bit more than that. They made 12 total throughout the entire month of June.
That's fair.
It's higher than 3, but it's nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that where it's like across the socials, you can say like, oh, most of our audience is on Facebook, so we're making posts on Facebook. That's great, but there's a demographic on X. There's a demographic on Instagram that's not being served. So it's something where it's like just focusing a little bit of time on a team perspective, on a league perspective to post. Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can recycle content if you want throughout the off season. Like just don't be quiet for a month and a half, or in some cases, some team accounts are quiet for years and then suddenly they wake back up. Right. So it's something where it's like, man, as a whole, I think that's the next step for the NAL is getting really active on socials and finding ways to really connect with their audiences.
Completely agree.
Trey, I don't think it's just the NAL. I think it's all the way around the board.
100%. Yeah. We're just on the topic of the NAL now. Yeah.
Great point as well, Coach B. I mean, I think that's a widespread issue amongst a lot of different teams and leagues. And, you know, I think that's one realm where you could even argue the IFL has a lot of room for improvement.
1,000%.
So, I mean,
yes.
I think that's a great point. And I mean, actually 12 is a lot better than I thought, obviously, but it's one of those situations where, having obviously done this media stuff for like 5 years now, I realize how much of a pain it can be to physically go through and create a new post
Mhm.
for each different platform. It's not fun. I get it 100%. But at the same time, if you are tapping every one of those fan bases on all the different
Yes.
platforms, it's going to pay off in the long run. So I'm with you there 100%. That is something that a lot of teams could improve upon. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a crazy amount of effort either. You can build out, a basic post, copy paste to each different platform, and then, maybe change some of the tags, some of the hashtags and stuff like that in it. And then it's that simple. I mean, that's essentially how we've done it here. And I wouldn't say that we're the greatest at promotion either, but we don't go quiet for long. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Maybe a day or two at a time. So
Yeah.
that pays off, and it is that consistency that keeps fans coming back to your page. And there's something to be said about that as well. All these teams should be monetized on all their social medias as well. And I know it's a
Yes.
small chunk of income, but any penny of income coming in is a good thing, right?
Question for Shady and Trey. Do you think that should be part of the vetting process for new owners, making sure they have a marketing budget, a social media budget, stuff like that? Because we're getting all these owners and they cutting the corners. I had to fight last year for a social media team, and I thought we did pretty good. A lot of people don't know I paid my interns out of my pocket last year in Council Bluff to make sure they was posting every day because my owner didn't want to pay them. So is that something that we need to start doing with owners, making sure they're getting vetted properly, and make sure they have proper budgets?
I don't think that's a terrible idea. I think, realistically, the vetting process should be as advanced as you can possibly make it. Ask every single question you can possibly think of to ask. I mean, if they don't have something prepared, that's fine. Have them outline their plan to get there. I mean, at the end of the day, every single one of these organizations needs to stop being so short-sighted. And understand that, look, if we're going to launch a team, it's not necessarily about how we look in year 1. It's how we look in year 3, in year
Mhm.
5, in year 7, how we progress to the point of being a complete picture as a franchise, like an Omaha is, a polished product that's gotten there after years and years of effort to get them there. So I think that that's a very good point, and something that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're vetting teams, ask all the questions, ask every possible question you can. Worst case scenario, you get an answer you don't like, and it's something that you need to address with that team individually. So I think that's a good point. You again, ask everything you possibly can, and be 100% prepared as a team owner in a league when that team comes in. Anything else on the NAL side that I've missed or we have not discussed as of yet?
We were waiting on the NAL guest. He told me he's running a little late, but we'll get back to him when he come on. So if we want to move on, we can.
Sounds good. It looks like our IFL guest has arrived.
One
So
more thing before we switch over.
yeah,
I did want to ask you, Omaha, man. I mean, how about them signings? Brandon Munoz. I mean, I heard about this a while ago, but Flowers, everyone like how I think we talked about this last week, but with Trey here, how much of an advantage? I mean, you think Omaha has, man? I mean, they're signing guys so early in the process. Do you think that guarantees them, long-term success, or do you think they're kind of jumping the gun?
I think anything they can do to make it a year-long fan engagement is great. Like I think I saw they have like a fan fest. Omaha does like in August or something, and I think that's amazing. Like you see, a lot of teams don't start announcing signings until November, December, January, and it's like, look, if you stay engaged with your community, you don't have to re-engage with your community every single year when the season's coming up. So you just continually be in the spotlight of the community and be involved. And I think that's a great way to do it, where it's like, hey, we're still here. We're still active. We're still doing our thing. Got the Fan Fest in August. These 4 signings for next season will be there. Like, I think it's a good model to follow. And kudos to Omaha for doing that and for kind of continuing to set the standard in the NAL.
I love it, Chris. I feel like you should never stop recruiting during the season. If I had the budget, I would have a whole scouting department recruiting during the season and off season, year
But it's
round.
also like Negron has a lot of good connections too, so I think it helps. And CJ Kane, our guy, right? Like, I mean, CJ, he's played this game. Players know him. Players relate to him. He just got done playing, so he's able to relate to guys, and guys trust him off the jump. I mean, like, I'm just be honest. Like, if you have CJ reaching out, versus some old head in Shreveport or Idaho, like, who are you gonna want to play for? Right, CJ. I mean, that's obvious, right? So man, I think Omaha destined for a championship this year, honestly.
Krish, you just brought up a good point, and maybe this is a question that we can kind of ask and then revisit next week. But when it comes to indoor football, is it better for recruiting purposes to be a player coach, a coach that players want to play for because you're one of those guys? Because I think that's an inherent advantage. I mean, you brought it up just now. I mean, CJ, he's literally was playing with Wheeling this past season, so he's not far removed. He knows exactly what players go through. He can talk them through all the different situations, all the different things that Omaha offers that other teams may not, and he can literally sit there and compare them with firsthand knowledge. So I think that's a huge advantage for him in Omaha. And then I also think that, Coach Negron being there, guys want to play for Negron. And shoot, if I was an athlete, I'd want to play for Negron. He's just one of those guys that I think he's just a person that, people naturally gravitate toward. So
it's also like he's giving guys chances. I'm just be honest, that would never have chances at professional level if it wasn't for him. So I mean,
you're not wrong.
That shows like, he's willing, he's keeping an open mind when he goes through the recruiting process.
David Ross, Brentley Allen. I mean, we could sit here and name tons of guys.
Yeah, like those guys would never be playing if it wasn't for him, honestly.
Yeah, and they're still out there playing in the NAL. So you have a good point there for sure. Any other NAL subjects before we move on and hopefully get our not hopefully, but get our IFL guest on so we're not taking up too much of his time today? All right, silence is golden. We'll play a quick commercial. We'll come back with Justin Sykes of the IFL, and we will talk to him about his experience in indoor football.
Get in the game at BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook. Over 50 sports, live betting, online casino, horse racing, esports, and more. Start now and enjoy easy deposits, fastest payouts, and the biggest bonuses. And for over 25 years, BetUS is a name you can trust. Mention TV 150 now and get up to 150% in bonuses. BetUS, we've got your game. Call or visit BetUS.com now to join.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Sykes. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good morning. No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. I'm just going to stop messing with the alignment there. It's not working out how I would like it. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your season so far in 2025.
So it's my rookie season, 2025. I was playing in some lower level leagues before I was able to come here. And it's been fun. It's been a learning experience. There's been a bit of a learning curve to it. Just getting used to the speed of the game, the techniques a little bit different. It's been a great experience so far.
That's awesome. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you played in the AIF previously, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which team were you with in the AIF?
So I was with the Venom over there in the AIF. Played a few games with them. I had an injury, so I wasn't able to play as many games as I wanted to.
Gotcha. Krish, I believe you set this all up, so I'll let you kind of take the reins.
Nah, that was my boy Coach B, but Justin, I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, you were with Arizona Bandits kind of early in the process, man. Talk to me about like how bad that situation went, and I know you had a teammate recommendation to go to San Antonio, so talk to me about that.
Man, that was a blessing. The recommendation was the first part, could have done without that, but everything for a reason, you know what I mean? If I wasn't out there in Arizona, I would have never met Malik. So definitely glad that I did that, but the situation over there, it wasn't the best, It was my first experience in the AF1, so I didn't really know what to expect or what to think, so I took everything with a grain of salt. But basically, we were just promised a bunch of stuff that never happened, just poor management, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, luckily though, I was able to meet Malik out there, and learn from him because I'm trying to learn the game. So I know he's a good quarterback. So I'm just asking him questions, trying to stay on top of things, and built a little bit of a relationship in the short time that we were there. And he was on the Gunslingers, gave me a good word, and here we are.
Obviously you're around a veteran coaching staff, right? Coach Fuller, my guy, Coach Lee. Talk to me about Coach Lee and just how he's been a key, mentor in your development and learning the game.
Oh yeah, it's great to learn from someone like Coach Lee. He's told me a lot with my pass rush game, a little bit of run block, just showing me the little things in my technique that I could do better, and just really helping me refine my game in a really simple way. He's nothing too crazy that he'll tell you. It's just real simple techniques that got him where he got, and it's gonna help me get where I'm going.
Early in the year, you guys kind of dealt with some quarterback instability, right? You had a bunch of different quarterbacks. I think you had 5 at one point. But now, you have that stability with Joaquin Collazo. Talk to me about his leadership and kind of what he brings to the team.
Man, Joaquin, he's a great guy. I actually picked him up from the airport, and first thing I told him was, we don't need a hero, man. We just need someone consistent, and he's done that. He's done that perfectly. Leader-wise, he's a great guy. He's the kind of guy you want to play for. Just never puts anyone down. He's always bringing people up. Just a real nice guy, funny guy. He's just someone that you want to play for. He's not full of himself. He's a real humble man. He just gets in there, gets the job done. And, I love to see when he gets hyped up because he's usually not like that. So he's a great quarterback. Glad to have him over here now.
Now, last question for you before I turn it over to Trey and Coach B. You are a sports client with Jay Martinez. How has his relationship kind of influenced your decision to come and play indoor football?
Actually, I made the decision pretty quickly. I was going to head to another team that we were trying to get me over to, and this opportunity opened up. So I actually headed over here before I even told him because it happened so quickly. But he's been good. Just helping me get my name out there. That's the biggest thing. So I'm appreciative for that.
Hey, Justin, I got a question for you regarding the transition from the outdoor game to the indoor game. We hear it a lot at the quarterback position, the wide receiver position, even DBs, but we don't really hear it from defensive linemen. So how is the game outdoors and indoors similar, and how is it different, and what kind of surprised you the most?
It's pretty different. I'd say it's only really similar if you're used to lining up inside. As a defensive end, it's a lot different because you're basically handicapped. You're not allowed to line up in those wide sevens. You got to stay basically in the 4A. So pass rush wise, it kind of just limits your ability. You got to get straight to the hands. You don't have 3 yards to set your move up. Speed rushes, you got to set up. Everything's it's close quarters. It's kind of like fighting in a phone booth.
Yeah.
So it's been just getting used to how quick things are because you're right up on the guy, so you don't really have a lot of time, and that takes a little bit of getting used to, just getting straight to the hands, getting straight to the chest, and that's one thing that helped me a lot in the off season. I was just training, getting that hand straight to the chest. That's whether it's run or pass, that's going to set you in a good position.
Yeah, there's no 5 or 7 step drop backs for QBs. Like you got to get there in 2-3 seconds or else you're done.
You lucky to get 3, honestly. I've been noticing. He's coming. It's 1-2 and he's throwing that thing. So
right. I got one more before I pass it to Coach B here. So from the lineman perspective, how difficult is it to time up the high man motion? Is it something where you're peeking out the corner of your eye? Or are you always looking at the ball? Like what's the secret to kind of lining that up and timing that right?
So I'm peripheral. Unless I really know it's a passing down or passing play or an empty or something, I could stare at the ball, get away with that. But for the most part, I'm peripheral. I see the ball in my peripheral. I see any kind of motions in my peripheral. If it's high mo, I can see him in the side of my vision. Right. So you kind of just time it up. He's about to snap it. So
yeah. It surprises me how well both sides of the ball time up the snap at times. To me, it's like, man, you would think you would see a lot more false starts, offsides, but kudos to all the players in these leagues. They do a really good job of timing it up.
Yeah. Well, a good quarterback, sometimes they'll snap it a little bit early and try to get someone you know, couple fake calls before they actually snap it. But for the most part, yeah, you just watch it out of the corner of your eye and get going.
Justin, you play for San Antonio, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We had a comment in the chat asking which team you played for. Talk to me about some of the learning experiences you've had this season, despite the fact that the season obviously has not gone as planned for San Antonio. What do you take from a loss, and what have you tried to take from a win, and how does that differ?
Taking from a loss, I would say it really tests like who wants it and who's playing for what. You know, when you start losing games, people start losing motivation. If you're not really if you're just in it for money, if you're in it for whatever, you could tell. So when those losses come, you see who's really playing for pride and who's playing for their name. After the wins, you know, everybody's great. Everybody loves that. So the wins kind of teach you like who can handle success, who could win and then want more, or do you win and you get comfy and do the same thing you did last week.
One question I didn't want to ask you is, you know, obviously a lot of people talk about San Antonio, right? The setup. I mean, you guys eat well over there. You know, you have good facilities. Talk to me about the facilities and how surprised you were when you first walked into the building in the Rackler Ranch.
Oh yeah, man, it felt like a real pro team. It was great going out there, seeing that coming from where I've been. The facility is great. It's nice to have a field that we can just practice on whenever. But yeah, it just feels like they care about you, you know, like they treat you well out there.
Chris took my question out of my mouth, Justin. I was going to compare San Antonio to Arizona and Amarillo.
Mm-hmm.
What was the difference between there? Because, you know, I know you played in Amarillo, and that's now the West Texas Warbird or the Warbirds out
Okay.
there. What's the difference between? I know Arizona, y'all was giving a lot of promise. I even heard some players got y'all rental cars to drive around while y'all were down there.
I didn't know. I was local, so I had my own car out there. But Arizona, yeah, they just promised to put people a bunch of money they didn't have, and yeah, in Amarillo, it was just food really. The hotel wasn't that bad. It was just the food situation. It was kind of hard to get some good food around there, and I think the big difference is just the money and the organization. I think there's more money around this team, and I think they handle it a little better just in terms of not giving people crazy contracts they can't afford, making sure people actually get paid when they're supposed to. I know a lot of teams have issues with that, so it's been nice to get those paychecks going. But yeah, not too much I can say about all that. It's just different organization, and feels like a real pro team out here.
What does a typical off season look like for you? Sorry, Coach, didn't mean to cut you off.
Typically, back to training. So I train back home in Indio, California, with these guys out there. Typically, it's 3 or 4 days a week. Doing my hand drills, doing my defensive line stuff. I'm doing field work. I'm staying fit. I'm staying conditioned because I'm trying to last 4 quarters. I'm getting my size back on, hypertrophic training. I'm doing my performance training, resting, seeing the family, and just enjoying the rest of my life outside of training.
Love it. Coach B, did you have a question for him? I apologize.
No, you already. I was just gonna tell him I appreciate him coming on. I know he called me last night and told me he was real sick, so I appreciate you giving us your time, Justin.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
I'm trying to recruit him, Sam, to come and play at Iowa this fall. So that's my guy. I've been talking to him ever since he left Arizona, trying to find him a spot. But I appreciate you, man, for coming on, giving us the time. You the man, bro.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the love, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Justin. We'll let you get out of here so you can go begin your rest and recuperation and hopefully feel better soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on despite the fact that you're sick. We really appreciate that. I mean, it means a lot that you would take the time to show up despite the fact that you're not feeling well.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on here. It was great.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely have you back on in the future if you ever want it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Well, in that case, we will go ahead and bid you adieu, sir. Have a great day. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, y'all.
All right. So there are a couple other things to talk about in the IFL this upcoming week. Obviously, we're kind of in the final week of the regular season, and we have watched the Massachusetts Pirates conclude their season. Fisher Freight, Iowa.
Let's
And
go,
also a
Mass.
Bay Area. I'm sorry, what was that, Coach?
Let's go, Mass.
Krish did have to shave his head. We spoke about that earlier.
Take your hat off, Chris. Keep it off, buddy. That's part of the deal. Yes, we gotta see your head. A deal is a deal, buddy. When you shave your head, you gotta show it. Thank you.
All right, so we have a question from Trey in the chat, IFL segment. Here's my question: do you think y'all?
No. You know what? Nah, cut the bullshit, man. I don't want to hear anything about y'all's schedule, bro. Y'all paid that white boy fucking $30,000 to come there, and oh my god, man. I don't complain, bro. Don't. I don't want to hear an absolute complaint. Like, no, bro. No.
To our audience, we do not agree with Chris what he just said. They paid Sam Catchinova, not some racial person.
I'm just saying, man. Like, it's so when I hear you like complain every time, like I know you love your team, bro, but no, bro, no.
You gotta give him up. You gotta give Trey a fair shot, though.
Okay, no.
Listen to this, Chris. I think every league, every team should play the same amount of games. That's the only way you're gonna have a fair ranking and rating system. When you got one team playing 10 games and another team playing 14, come on, bro. That's very unlopsided. So seeding is not gonna be natural.
That's not the way it is in the IFL, though. We're talking about the IFL, right?
That was just a hypothetical situation. You just got to realize every team don't play the same amount of games though in the IFL.
They do. In the IFL? They 100% do.
I know in the AF1, every team didn't play the game, and seeding was kind of crazy.
Yeah, but we're talking about the IFL, and I see what Trey is referring to, and what he's referring to is the schedule format of, all right, there's 16 games, play 12 games in conference, 4 games out of conference. I think that's the consistency he's referring to, where we had some teams playing 4 out of conference games and some teams only playing 1 or 2. So there is some imbalance there, and I think there is some opportunity for improvement when it comes to like just making things a little bit more even. But scheduling is at this level of football is just it's not a perfect science, like Wookie says in the comments there, where there's a lot of logistics that go into it. And like the reason why like a Tulsa plays a San Antonio 3 times is because they're drivable. Like they're in pretty close proximity to each other. Like it's easier for Tulsa to go to San Antonio than it is for Mass to go to Bay Area or Mass to go to Northern Arizona 2 times a year, right? So it's an imperfect science, but at the same time, win your games and you don't have to worry about strength of schedule. You don't have to worry about the 3rd or 4th or 5th tiebreaker if you win your games against a very winnable Fisher's Freight team that struggled at that point where you lost the game in week 11, week 12, or whatever it was. So if you win your football games, you don't have to worry about tiebreakers. And it didn't bounce Tulsa's way, but that doesn't mean Tulsa was robbed either.
I agree with you, but I don't agree with you, Trey. I feel like I don't care what schedule is. I do not want to play no team 3 times a year. If we got 14 teams in my league, I should not be playing one team 3 times. There's no way possible. It should be some kind of variable. You get in this league to pay for travel. So if you got to go somewhere and play another team because you don't want to play three teams one time, one team 3 times, then you need to pay for that travel. That's a part of the game.
Right.
No, that's definitely fair. I mean, obviously, the IFL is set up as it is. You agree to the league in its current structure. But at the same time, I mean, like Trey said, I mean, a lot of this stuff is financially motivated. I mean, if you can make an easy trip to San Antonio or you can make a trip to Bay Area or, wherever, it's a kind of a no-brainer. At the end of the day, they have to keep that in the back of their mind to keep these teams solvent over the long run. I mean, whatever little help you can give these teams to take the edge off the cost is, I think, a good thing. And obviously there are some exceptions to that, and yes, to a certain extent, it's not fun to have any team play each other 3 times, but at the same time, I mean, no schedule's perfect. I don't think I've ever seen a schedule indoors and been like, you know what, they got everything right on this one. There's always something that can be pointed to, and honestly, a lot of it is because of financial logistics, and unfortunately, that's just a huge part of this sport that we all love so much. At the end of the day, owners are not billionaires typically, and they don't typically have money they just want to throw away hand over fist every year. So that's definitely something that has to be factored in, unfortunately. Ricky even says there are owners that are billionaires in that league, but money is always a part of the equation. It's a business at the end of the day, and you got to keep these businesses running if you want to be stable. If that's the case, don't have us play Jacks and Mass. I mean, you're in the East, though, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Trey is in connecting the dots on, which is weird to hear me say that out loud because I'm like talking to myself, but one of the things that I don't think he's connecting is that the tiebreaker that Green Bay has over Tulsa right now has nothing to do with conference games. It's overall strength of schedule, collective record of every team you play throughout the season. So if you played 4-10 or 4-11 San Antonio 3 times, that counts as 12 wins and 33 losses on the strength of schedule. So that's where the strength of schedule comes into play. So I agree conference games should be a little bit more even across the board, but that's not the reason why Green Bay has the edge in this situation. And in a perfect world, every team in the East would play every other team in the East 2 times, right? I just do the math. That's 12 games. That's 12 conference games right there. Then you mix in 4 out of conference games against the West, get some matchups you typically don't see. In a perfect world, that's amazing. That's incredible. But it's just a far from perfect world when it comes to organizing logistics for stuff like this.
That's a good point. And there's so many other factors that we haven't even touched on that don't involve financial logistics. I mean, arena dates and all these different things. I mean, maybe one of the teams has a short week the week before and they don't want to make them play, on another short week or whatever it may be. So there's so many different things that really factor into this. But I like what Adam said here. I mean, this is really what we all need to look at the end of the day. I'll take a team playing a team. I'll take my team playing another team 3 times in a season over them folding and running into financial trouble. So, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree on that. Quentin Humphrey, got to look past the business. You have to have that mindset that no matter how many times I have to play a team, I'm putting 100% the best players on my team to get that win. Yes, the schedule can suck, but I only can control what I can control. Exactly. San Antonio and Tulsa honestly need to be in the same conference, but that's unfeasible until the league is able to even out the map.
I was going to say that, Sam, because Tulsa is not East. They are Midwest. So why are they in the Eastern Conference? That's just like putting a Kansas City team in the East, and we're the Midwest. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think if we see some teams pop up in the East, like what is rumored, it makes sense for Tulsa to slide over to the West, which will just make the West even more of a gauntlet when you look at the roster of teams. But yeah, it's especially when you look at other leagues, like Oklahoma City's in the Western Conference, but Tulsa's in the Eastern Conference of the IFL. Like, that's crazy. But that's the way it works,
Oklahoma City
right?
is farther east in Oklahoma than Tulsa is. That's what's confusing me.
Well, here, I mean, it makes a lot more sense when you look at the map of teams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here, just for some reference, let me scroll that down a little bit. So basically, here you are. I mean, when you look at it, Tulsa is very clearly on the eastern side of the country for this league, right? So the only other closer east team right there is San Antonio. So, ideally they would be in the same division, and ideally Tulsa would probably be in the West. But, there's a lot of states there that they need to kind of fill out with some East teams in order for that to make sense. So I definitely agree with you. Tulsa should be in the West, or, there should be a central division or something like that. and maybe 3 divisions or 3 conferences is the way to go in the future for them. But yeah, it's definitely, unfortunately, due to the teams they have in the league currently. There is a massive hole right there in the center of the country and in the center of the East Coast. I mean, if they were able to add some teams and kind of fill out the map, I think everything would make a lot more sense logistically as far as that goes.
The way I'm looking at it, if you add one more East team, you can go to 3 conferences and have at least 1, 2, 3,
5
4.
teams a conference, because that'd be
5
15.
teams. Yeah, yep, 5 teams a conference. And and you make Iowa, Green Bay, Quad City, Tulsa, and San Antonio your Midwest.
Ricky says arena dates always dictate a large part of the equation of who plays who and when. Of course, I mean, we're talking firsthand knowledge of how the IFL, builds their schedule with Ricky. So I mean, he can speak on this a lot better than any of us can. Trey, we have the better win versus Green Bay. That should be the tiebreaker. We could sit here and argue what should be the top tiebreaker all day long. At the end of the day, every team gets a vote on the rules, right? So the rules are what they are, unfortunately. I mean, it's tough. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I mean, not to get too far in the weeds here, but we've all had complaints with how the NFL structures their playoffs. But at the end of the day, I mean, you play in that league, so you're subject to the rules that are that league's rules. So it is. Yeah, it's kind of what it is.
I always favor the tiebreaker that favors my team too, but that's just not how how it works, unfortunately.
Exactly. We can see a West, Central, East. Y'all boys running out of content to talk about. I'm nodding off respectfully. Hopefully, if the league gets their planned expansion for 2026, then maybe we have a West, Central, East. Well, in the end, unless you in the front office, really nothing we can do.
Yeah, exactly, Coach. Just like Tyrone, from his couch, right? So yeah, you can't do anything unless you're there. But you can still talk about it and bring up discussion. That's what discussion is, right?
Oh man, tiebreaker talk next segment. Let's go. Let's buckle in and get ready to get to the nitty gritty, boys. Love it. Yeah. So I guess we've pretty much worn out the IFL subject according to Coach O'Neill. So anything else you guys wanted to address in the IFL before we move on?
I want to talk about my team, but I also need to get to my betting picks because.
Good point. We definitely need to talk about the 7-9 Massachusetts Pirates.
I'll go last if Trey and we can go around, and then I'll go last.
Let me get the picks pulled up real quick.
Yeah, get the picks pulled up here. So, Krish, I want you to go to episode 41 of Off the Wall, timestamp 35 minutes and 6 seconds. That's my IFL preview for the 2025 season, and that was in which I said the Massachusetts Pirates were not going to meet expectations and didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I was called a madman. I was called a crazy person. Off the wall,
he's going to be called Nostradamus.
Off the wall, nose ball. But all kidding aside, Pirates, man, it was tough to watch the past couple weeks unfold, just knowing the potential that they had. And I know Krish was always gassing them up of like, we're coming, we're doing the thing. And I was like, they could be doing the thing. They could be turning the corner and pulling another 2024. But it was tough to see it go down that way. And hoping for the best in the offseason. Hopefully we see the Massachusetts Pirates come back better than ever next week. But yeah, the past couple of weeks were a rough watch. And when you look at a team like Fishers that had quarterback play from like Felix Harper, wide receiver play from Isaiah Coulter, running back play from Dominic Roberto, it just makes you think like, man, what if Mass had one or two of those guys? Just think of how different their season could have ended up if they just had one, two, maybe all three of those pieces on their roster. But it is what it is, and that's just hypotheticals at this point. We'll never know what a Mass team with those players would have looked like.
Well said. I love it. I'll leave my comments for after. I know the betting picks, and I got a lot to say. So.
That was great. All
Hey,
right.
it's okay. It's okay, Chris. I'll piggyback off of Trey. I kind of looked at it. I had to sit back yesterday and really look at mass. I love Chris always says Yahweh has one of the best organizations. He's one of the best recruiters. I give him that he is. But one thing I think Yahweh is fault at, he's loyal too long to a lot of players. A lot of those players still that's there don't need to be there. The culture is shifting. They need to shift with the culture. I feel like the coaching staff need to switch up over there. They need to have somebody in there from 1 year from the start to the end. No new coaches, no new nothing. Let that coach do his job. Let that coach pick his players. We all it, and they see how the season goes. They've had turnover every year in that organization, from coaches to players to etc. They just need some stability over there. No matter how good you is in recruiting and all that, if you don't have no stability, no chemistry, no culture, it don't matter.
Yeah, Mass is great at recruiting. Just kidding. Cutting them blank checks. Krish, what are your betting picks for this week?
Yeah. Again, I got a lot to say, but I'm gonna do my betting picks, and then I'm gonna try to be as civil as possible. So Green Bay and Jacksonville. I hate Jacksonville. I hate everything about that team. But I think Green Bay is the better team. I think Jason Gibson will be exposed again, and they'll lose. Northern Arizona, San Antonio. San Antonio will end the season. So I got Green Bay -1.5, San Antonio -4.5, Tulsa +4.5, because Seth Morgan will start for Quad City, I believe. Second half, they'll rest Daquan Neal, with the injury and everything. So Tucson, Vegas -6.5. Please, Coach Davis, if you're watching, man, make sure that Billy Bat can't breathe. Please, just put the smack down on him. Make him suffer, man. Like, really, please. Please. I want Vegas to win by 40, man. I want him to feel the pain. Arizona, San Diego, man. Man, I think Arizona's going to win this game. -1.5. Nate Davis, Arizona already clinched, but I feel like Arizona's going to win this game for some reason. Drew Powell, man, he's going to get in and he's going to go off. So watch DP do what DP does.
Fair. Trey or Coach B, do you want to give your guys' picks?
I'll go real quick. I got Green Bay over Jacksonville, but I do think Jacksonville. They are a coach and a couple players away from being a contender. They just got to get it right down there. I'm going with San Antonio over Northern Arizona. Northern Arizona just ain't got it down there. They need a coaching change down there too as well. I think San Antonio needs a coaching change as well. To the next game, I'm going with Tulsa over Quad City. Even though I love Quad City, uh, I just think Sam and them are hot right now, and they're gonna stay hot going into the playoffs. I'm going with Vegas. I'm a Coach Davis guy, and I just feel like Billy Back has lost his touch. He ain't in tune with his players and with the game right now. His offense ain't been what it been since Spokane or Wichita Falls. Uh, my boy Kaiser, he doing the best he can down there, but I'm going Vegas. And I'm going with Coach Rod in San Diego with the upset over Arizona to me.
Okay. Good question. Wookie asks if we could see Carl start for Tulsa. Trey, do you want to give your picks?
Yeah. So not to brag, but off the wall, 8-1 over the last 9 picks in the IFL. So go check out the Off the Wall picks blog if you haven't already, where all these are posted. But I agree with the two other guys here. Green Bay +1.5. I like Green Bay. They still have a lot more to fight for than Jacksonville, with the 1 seed still in reach, and I think they'll put the pedal to the metal in that offense. And future MVP Max Myler is just unbelievable this year. Northern Arizona, San Antonio. I like the over more than either of the lines. I think this line for the total is very undervalued. It feels like it should be like an 84, 85, 86, somewhere in that range, given how the offenses have performed over the back half of the season. So I like over 79.5. Tulsa plus 4.5 for the same reason that the other guys mentioned. Vegas minus 6.5. Really like that. I think Vegas has a little bit more ironing out to do offensively. They've been rolling that 2-quarterback system, and it's not perfect yet. And I think we'll see a lot more Jaden DeLora here moving forward. But I think we'll see Vegas lay it on Tucson. Then last but not least, I like Arizona versus San Diego. I like the under 85.5. I feel like both of these teams are going to turn it into a run out the clock situation. Just make it to the playoffs unscathed, depending on how some of the games on a Saturday work out. Arizona already has the 2 seed locked up. San Diego wins, they get the 3 seed. If Vegas loses on Saturday, they already have the 3 seed locked up. So depending on how Saturday works out, San Diego might not have much to play for, but I think under 85.5 is the move there.
All right, there you go.
I think it's going to come down in
people.
that San Diego game. I think it's going to come down whoever got the ball last.
Could. Definitely could. It's a pretty quality game for sure. There's a lot of good games this week, actually. Okay, Krish, we'll go ahead and give you the mic to rant about your Pirates for a little bit, and we'll see where this goes.
So, earlier this week, I put out a statement on the fan club, and it got like 250 likes, 25 shares. It got a lot of traction. And I had a lot of people reaching out to me saying, oh, is it clickbait? What is it? Clickbait my ass. All right? When I speak and I put something out, don't ever question my credentials. You know what I mean? Like, don't ever question me. And if you want to question me, you can question me in blood. That's where you can question me. So don't question me. Don't play with me. But no, I spoke how I feel. I'm not going to comment on that. You can talk to your people in the inside, since you reached out to me and wanted to know something from me, but wanted to give me the full details, so you can ask the people on the inside. But I'm really upset. I'm really upset that we missed the playoffs. But I'm really, really upset that I feel, we're labeled as something that we're not. And the thing is, we need some stability around here. Like, I'm not going to lie. You don't understand. Like, you don't think I talk about all these things privately with people? Like, we need stability. We need a quarterback. We need this. We need that. I've been saying this since week 2. I said we needed a quarterback since week 2. All respect to Kenji. But when I see Jaden DeLora going out there, Northern Arizona game, cover 2, he's slipping it right in. Like, how can he look so good, but our guy can't even throw a curl? Like, really? Why can Jaden DeLora make all these plays? You know why? Because he's committed to it. Because he wants it. There's certain dudes on our team that don't want it. I'm going to be honest. There's certain dudes that don't want it. And those dudes, man, you know who you are. You know who you are. And I hope you never play football again. And I hope you have to ride the Greyhound bus home for what you did to this team. Because of you, this team is suffering. Because you don't want to put the effort in. Because you want to, you want to take plays off, man. I mean, I never called him that. I said he was going to be good, and he played good this year at some point. And it's not the coaches. I 1,000% will stand by our coaching staff. I'll stand by Manas. I'm not going to comment on that publicly, but I will stand on with Manas till the end. I want Manas to be back next year. But no, honestly, what I'm telling you is look. We had the pieces this year. Defensively, we had the pieces. Marquise Waters leaving, that should have never happened. Never. And that's what makes me upset. When he left, I'm like, we're screwed. All right? And it's unfair to the guys who do it right because there's so many talented players on our team this year. So many. And after the Tucson game, we brought Felix Harper in. Actually, after the Quad City game, we brought Felix Harper in. Right? He never got a chance to play. I don't know why. I don't know why we never played him. Never makes sense to me. Again, that's above me, right? So, obviously, he never played, never got an opportunity. All right, then we go and sign Talia, right? And Felix Harper had chances to play. He should have played the second half of the Tucson game. He should have been our starter. He should have started the Northern Arizona game, but he didn't. All right, and we Kenji Bahar completed 3 passes in the first half. All right, so then we move on. Kenji played better after the bye week, but it's too late. We win 4 in a row. It's 25-23. Our defense comes out and makes 3 stops before halftime. 3. And then we make a stop after halftime. Why are you going to sign Talia and not put Talia in? Like, wasn't the whole point of bringing Talia in to be like the face? Like, I just don't understand. And I was hoping to see Talia play. Last night, you saw Talia play the way he did because he had got no quality reps. None. The Iowa game when we were up 40-6, I was like, let's go. Let's put him in. Let's give him a chance so we can understand the game. But no, we decided not to. I wish, man, I just wish things would have gone differently. And then for the team moving. Look, I hate the rumors. I hate it. I hate that, we have rumors, but I'm not an idiot. I understand business, man. No one understands business like me, man. It's in my bloodline, right? You see my wrist on game days. You can talk to me about business, right? So for me, man, like I just business is business, man. And the reality is, if we move to Florida, we have to move to Florida. I guess that's what it is, because our marketing here is terrible. It's terrible. Like, we don't market this the way it should be marketed. And our marketing team needs to do a better job. And they've done a better job for the last couple of games, but it needs to be done. Man, you need to be out in the community. You need to be doing these things. These players need to be out. Your biggest marketing resource is your players, right? And our players are not out in the community enough. It's just, I even offer, man, like, I'll pay these guys out of my own pocket. I don't got that much money, but, like, if it comes down to that, man, I will. Anything to save this team. But if this team moves to Florida, they move to Florida, and I'm still a fan. It doesn't matter. I'm always going to root for my team. Honestly, and I get it, man. I get it. I think the market would support it. But I believe the market here can support it. I just don't think we promote it enough. I don't. I really don't. We don't do a good job. Yes, because he'll get new marketing people. Come on, man. You think he's going to move the whole marketing people with him? No. He's going to get new marketing people. We have our guy, Adrian Lobo. He's done a great job for us. Media marketing. We need more people like that in our front office that want to, take a stand and commit. And I feel like we just don't got it. So it's fine, man. We'll move on. We'll grow. I'm still a fan. It just hurts. Hurts badly for the guys to do it the right way. But, I'm done crashing out. I'm going to move on. I'm going to take a break. I need a break from all this. I need a break from the IFL in general. I watched the playoffs. But, it sucks not to be in it. It really does, because so much talent wasted. We got to bring some guys back. We got to bring Manas back. We got to build. We got to build a foundation, because if we don't, it's going to be the same. It can't. Like, stuff needs to change, and I won't say what needs to change, but stuff needs to change, and everyone knows that. And if it does, we'll be right back in championship contention. Right back. If we bring Manas back, we bring our key guys. We identify 8 to 9 guys that we want to bring back next year, we'll be fine. And we bring a new, we might need to bring a new quarterback in here. I'm going to be honest. So that's it.
All right.
You need to worry about Arizona in the first round of the playoffs. That's what someone needs.
Hey, Trey, you was right. Let him cook.
I was so excited when I put myself on mute immediately. I was like, we're about to watch a masterclass. Very, very well done, Krish. And it's when you're that invested in the team, it's understandable. Where it's like, man, you want this to succeed so badly.
Like, exactly. Like, no one should question me. No one should, man. Like I said, if you want to question me, come and see me in blood. That's where you can question me. But you're not going to question me, because I've been to every home game in franchise history. I 18 mil with the team last year. This like last game yesterday. So I have a front row seat. I see it. And I see the talent. I see the guys. Honestly, Coach Davis, that Latavius Burney, man, that's a good dude. That's a guy we should bring back next year. He wants it. He came up to me to apologize. He said, I didn't play well. He has 7 tackles, right? And if he's taking accountability, we need more guys like that. And we have the pieces. Smoke Monday, like all these guys we can build around. But certain guys just got to go, man. They got to go. It's like, I feel like we've been, when you meet like a girl on a dating app, right? And they don't show up what we thought they would look like, man. We've been ripped off. Because the guys we're signing, some of them, they don't look like they're ready to play. I'm like, how did this guy play here? How did he play there? When I'm looking at this guy, he just doesn't look like it. What I saw, he wasn't advertised. And so we were scammed a couple times. But I honestly, like, I think we should have traded. I mean, I love Isaac. I love everything he's done for the franchise. In my personal opinion, I wish we had traded him before the season, and we should have traded him for, CJ Wyndham, man, or someone like that. We should have signed a DJ Myers. We should have signed a veteran. We need indoor veterans on our team. I love my outdoor guys. They're ballers, but we need a couple of indoor guys that know this game, that can teach the younger guys. So that's what it is, man. I hope we stay in Mass, but if we don't, it's been a fun ride, and I'm still gonna fly down and see the team in Tampa every week, so it doesn't matter.
Every week, good Lord. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because it seems like every single person that Mass brings in is that borderline, like, fringe practice squad, made the roster, made some appearances in the NFL. Do you think that you need to pivot the approach to being like, okay, instead of focusing on bringing those guys down, for lack of a better term, into indoor, bring in some indoor guys who have been around the game?
Yeah, I think we do. I honestly think I'll say that. I think we do. I can admit it. I think we should bring in guys, at least a couple. You don't need to bring, I'm not saying bring the whole team, make them indoor vets. I don't want, 40-year-old D linemen running around my team. That's not what I want my team to be. So I want my team to be young. I want it to be fresh. I want energy, But at the end of the day, like, I understand we need some veteran leadership. And when I mean veteran leadership, I mean someone who's booming in year one, like a Rivers in San Antonio, right? Booming in year one, ready for an even better breakout year two. Yeah. That's what we need. So
that's fair. I was gonna say there were definitely some arena football veterans or indoor football veterans on the roster, at least to begin the season. They all ended up in San Diego by the end of the year. So I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily know that veteran leadership is the answer, or maybe it's the right veteran leadership, I guess. I mean, I don't know, some of those guys up in Mass all that well, but I mean, you had Zico, you had T.O., you have Teo Redding there. Your entire wide receiver group has been there for a couple of years at this point, right? So then you had Guy Thomas on defense, Matt Elam. I mean, there were plenty of veterans on that roster. Were they the right veterans, and in hindsight, and maybe this is just me throwing stuff at a wall, I don't know, but how valuable does it look, or how big of a loss does it look like now that they lost Jimmy Robinson? I mean, to me, that was a huge part of their offense that changed substantially from last season, and maybe that was the all of the difference. But
yeah, obviously it was. I mean, look, Jimmy's a baller. Puka did a great job. I'm so proud of him. He dealt with a lot of adversity this year. He lost a parent early on. He dealt with injuries. He's been really handling it really well. And he's still one of the best running backs in the league, in my opinion. But I think it's more, honestly, I'll say I think losing Alejandro Benfield was a big loss for us. I really do. And I know, I might have not recognized it when he was here, but now you almost appreciate him when he's gone. Like, where is that veteran leadership? Where is the guy? And I mean leadership on the field. You don't got to be the big leader, whatever, like off the field. But as long as you do it on the field, he always did it. He always showed up. He took hits. He was really tough in the beginning of his career. And he was obviously dealt with a ton of injuries, had to go. But, like, I wanted to get a guy early on. Like, when we were 2-3, I was like, or even 2-4 after we lost to Tucson, Drew Powell. We were in Arizona. We could have got Drew Powell. Or even a Jerome Johnson. I would have loved Jerome. Jerome would have cooked here. He would have had, you thought he would won MVP in Vegas last year. He would have had an even more successful season this year in Matt. With that O-line. And, I mean, man, we would have traded him right here. Like, but next year, man, maybe we need to go out and get
I got a good O-line, Chris, but you got to this is the question I want to ask you. Y'all pay a lot of money to their receiving core. Are any of them in the top category of the league in receiving stats? Because for the money y'all put out for that receiving core, I think that receiving core has been underproducing the last 2 years, and they're injured more than any other player position on your team.
Thomas Owens and Teo Redding have combined for 27 touchdowns this season. I mean, they've been doing all right. I don't necessarily know that it's been their greatest season, but Krish, you hit on a good point there. Maybe it was Benefield that was the difference. Having him this season could have changed a lot for Mass. I think having that veteran mentor for Kenji might have been a huge difference, honestly.
Yeah, we should have given Felix a chance to play. I mean, that's it, man. That's all it is. I feel like Harper should have got an opportunity to play, and he would have done fine, and he would have been that leader we needed. But it's fine, man. It's over with, man. I think the quarterback position it's gonna come down to quarterback position. It always does, especially with the resources you have in Mass. Man, come on now. Like I like the rookie, but like, man, Liam Thompson last night, he ain't look like no rookie. I mean, he was balling out. You know what I mean? So how long is a rookie excuse relevant? Right? I mean, like I use Jaden Delore as an example. If I can turn on my TV at 10 o'clock and watch him throw perfect fade balls to the right corner of the field, then why can't our guy do that? Right? And so I wish the quarterback position was addressed. We're number one defense in the league for a reason. You know, we were banged up like hell last night. We had 5 of our defensive starters out, you know, but still.
I think some of it's coaching. I think a lot of it's also the player as well. I mean, I think Coach Davis, you can attest to the fact if a guy's not hungry or he's lost his love for the game, it's probably really hard to coach that guy and get him to actually absorb the coaching. So I do agree you got to help develop the young men, but at the end of the day, those young men have to want to be developed or be open to developing at the very least. But we're going to transition away from.
We should have switched to a vet quarterback. You know what I mean? Like new OC who could pick up this. A vet quarterback would be able to pick up the system better. So that's what we should have done. Because Drill Alejandro played well in any system. He played with Bones. He played with Coach Stout. He played good in any system. Even Coach Payton. He played in 4 different offenses, and he still balled out, and he still produced, right? So I want to give him the offense excuse. Oh, he switched offenses, and he did. And I think he had a decent season. He did. But, like, you need to get a veteran quarterback has a high IQ for a reason. You know what I mean? They pick up on stuff faster. So,
Krish, not to inflate your ego or anything, man, but I think we gained like 40 viewers while you were ranting about the Pirates, all during your little rant. I'm not even joking. That's the funny part.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I'm the face of my city for a reason. So, like I said, you know, I think people took. You know, I meant what I said, man. If you want to question me, come question me in blood. So I stand by that.
Krish's address is no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, we will move on. The topic that I put in the chat a little bit ago, and I only think I got one answer. Would love some more answers on this if you guys want to drop them in the comments. Which coaches do you feel are on the hot seat now that the season's kind of wrapping up for the IFL? And if you want to expand on that and kind of add some coaches from other leagues, that's perfectly okay as well. Krish, you're kind of on a roll right now, man. I'll just let you start us off on here and we can go around, go to Trey next and then Coach B.
Number one, I would say Dave Mogensen, obviously. Good guy, but it's time for them to move on. Another name I would say is Billy Back. I would say is another name. I mean, I hate to throw my boy under the bus, but I think it might be time for a coach change there. Who else? Marvin Jones is kind of a weird one. And you give that look, Trey, but when you spend money on a quarterback like Castanova, is the goal to make the playoffs or is the goal to win a championship? Think about it for a sec. You know what I mean? So
that's a championship move.
Yeah.
Well, you got to make the playoffs to win the championship.
But if you lose the first round of the playoffs, do you go? If they lose to Quad City in the first round, does he go?
I don't think so. That's just me, though. I don't think so.
And then maybe Jason Gibson and Jacksonville is another one. If they lose out, definitely I could see them making a move. On the West, I mean, Ron James, maybe in Northern Arizona. I think they bring him back for one more year. Vegas, he's solid. He's going to have that job forever. San Diego, he's solid too. He lives there. And then, yeah, that's all. Those are my main ones. It's kind of IFL does a good job keeping consistency with coaching. I wish we could do the same here. I wish we can do the same going forward. With Manas. I'm not saying Manas' name because I truly believe he's not on the hot seat. I believe he's gonna come back next year.
I think that's probably your best course of action if you're Massachusetts. You bring back Manas for a second season and allow him to have a full off season to build the roster and staff and all that fun stuff. I think that's the right course of action for Mass. Trey, what are your thoughts on the coaching situation?
Yeah, Iowa is immediately the first thing that comes to mind just because of how poorly their season went. Here's a fun stat for you. They went 1-15 on the year, but the over for Iowa went 13-3. That is a statistical anomaly to have the over go 13-3 and go 1-15. It's crazy, but yeah, I think when you look historically over the past couple of years, you have to include Massachusetts in the conversation because how many times have they brought back the head coach year over year? Historically, you have to have them in that conversation just because that's their track record over the past couple of years. Do I think bringing back Manas is the move? Yes, absolutely. But I don't know. Historically, that hasn't been the case. And I think San Antonio is probably in the conversation as well, where they were quick to let go of Manas early on this season, and the rest of the season didn't really pan out. So would Coach Fuller benefit from a full off season like Sam mentioned? Yes, absolutely. But wouldn't be surprised to see them go a totally different direction either. So yeah, I think for the most part, I think the majority of the teams are really set in stone. But we're going to see some movement, and I think it's going to be interesting to see some of the teams that get added to the league that have been rumored. How does that shake up the coaching? Do we see somebody that isn't necessarily on the hot seat, but jump ship from one situation to another to have a Dixie Wooten situation where they can build something from the ground up, right? So
Trey is on the ball when it comes to the stats for sure. Definitely love that comment by Adam Snow. Coach B, who are your coaches on the hot seat in the IFL?
Coach James. I just think he needs to go back to the AFL. It doesn't fit the IFL culture. I think they need to move on from him. I agree with you guys. Coach Fuller needs a full off season, but you got to realize Fuller been there the last 2 years with Manas, so it's the same regime. So I think you go in a different direction, bring in a whole new culture. I would give Manas. Ideally, I would give Manas a full off season, but you let Kaiser win a championship and then let him go after a championship season. So it wouldn't be surprised if they let Manas go.
No. Okay, no, that's not a fact. Kaiser was a defense coordinator.
Hold up. Let me finish.
Whatever, man. Spreading lies.
Coach Rod. I feel like he should have been there this year to build on what he did last year, but that didn't happen. You got to, like you said, it got to be some stability in Mass, and that's a big deal right there. Stability. Iowa definitely needs a head coaching change. Out this water. Me and Chris talked about this a lot. Even with this move, I still think Coach Jones is on the hot seat in Tulsa. They haven't lived up to their expectations, and with the fan base they got down there, you have to win. I think Coach Rod might be safe in San Diego, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's in this arena game. You never know what's gonna happen any given day.
Krish, out of curiosity, where does Coach Fuller call home? Is it still North Carolina?
Oregon. No, Washington, Seattle area. Like right outside. He lived in like a small town outside of Seattle.
Okay. Curious. I was just curious. I was going to say if the South Carolina team does end up happening in the IFL, maybe they offer James Fuller and then all of a sudden you have an opening in San Antonio and they have to go a different direction.
I want to see someone from South Carolina get that job, like a Jordan Mosley or Coach Reds. Honestly, he lives in the area. He lives 2 hours away. Another name that comes to mind is Anson Yarborough.
Yeah.
Former guest show, South Carolina University product. So Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. All three of those names make a lot of sense. I mean, and honestly, I was just thinking Fuller because I thought he was living in North Carolina, so I figured it would be closer for him. But if he's in Washington, maybe the Wolfpack should give him a call.
Yeah, I was about to say small season or a small town outside of Seattle, maybe in Everett,
Yes.
perhaps. I don't know.
If they stick with J.R. Wells one more year, I think this franchise wants to lose.
I think JR could still be there. It's like you guys said, he needs some help. He needs some veteran coordinators. He needs some help. He needs better
Sam,
players too.
from what we heard from players and coaches, he does not need to be there. Chris can vouch for that. Like, what we heard is insane what's going on out there in Everett. And last year when we came into the AFL, my first thing when I met J.R. Wells, I was like, "Whoa, this dude is always geeked. He is always on one." But he's a semi-pro coach trying to be a professional coach. He doesn't fit this regime. He doesn't fit. He doesn't know the game. He doesn't know how to build roster. He doesn't know how to recruit. He doesn't know how to game plan. And from what I'm hearing, he doesn't know how to manage his team. He's fighting players.
I think there was some of that. There were some issues behind the scenes for sure, but I think some of that was the players that were brought in. I mean, some guys have kicked around for many years and that they're never on the same team twice, and then they turn up in a Washington, and then there's some issues off the field. I mean, stuff happens. That's probably why that player has not necessarily been on a single roster for more than a year at a time. But I mean, I'm not saying that he's 100% not at fault. Obviously, as Mike Davis was saying earlier, a lot of the culture building is on the coaching staff. So you're a product of your surroundings as far as players go. So I do definitely see that aspect of it, which is why I think, some veterans in that room with him might go a long way. And maybe it's an assistant head coach, or maybe it's a head coach and he takes a demotion. I mean, and I know that's a hard pill to swallow if you're that guy, but if you want to continue coaching at the professional level, then the long-term view has to be, what's best for my career, what's best for me as a coach. So maybe that's the move. I don't know.
I didn't even think about that, Sam. That's a good idea. I would rather him demote down to a positional coach, maybe like a wide receiver coach or something. But head coach right now, no. That organization out there is top tier. The way they present themselves, they market themselves, I love it all. They need a real coach in there, and they'll be a contender. They have everything else behind them.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, I'm speaking out of turn because I don't know this to be fact by any stretch, but I think J.R. Wells, the guy that he is, at least from my experiences with him, I think that if the right person was interested in the head coaching job, I think he would maybe entertain stepping aside to allow that to happen if it was best for the team. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but he just seems like the type of guy who he really genuinely cares about the Wolfpack's success long term. So, but anyway, we've spent roughly 40 minutes on the IFL now. Let's transition to the last league on the docket, one that Elijah was asking about like an hour ago. We'll go ahead and switch over to the TAL. We're going to play a quick commercial, and then we'll come back with that. And then we'll have a real quick synopsis on another league that's come out. We'll see if they make it to the 2026 season.
I'm just being myself, cool as can be. When I'm being myself, you wish you were me. It's so easy. Get out your own way. It's just so easy.
All right, moving over to the TAL, a subject that we did not touch on last week that I wanted to bring up because I believe it's I don't want to say it's significant, but it's definitely something to watch. But the Iowa Woo recently lost their assistant GM midway through the season. He has resigned from his position to move on to a new position with another league, I believe. What are you guys' thoughts on that, and how big of an effect do you think something like that, an assistant GM, will have on the Woo? Let's go to Coach B first on this one.
Man, Sam, that's not good. If you look at the Wolves' history, they went through 4 GMs last season. They're on their 5th GM this season. And then I think the assistant GM is actually the GM because the other GM only works part-time. So for him to leave, who was your main go-getter, that's kind of hard because Victor Mann is the actual GM, but he's head coaching right now. So that guy who left, it's actually your real GM. So you lose 6 GMs in 2 years. Something's not right up there, or something ain't going on right.
I'm glad you brought that up because from my perspective, he was very active. He was very involved with the team, so it was kind of a surprise when I saw him move on. But I mean, I figure you would know a lot better than I would as far as their situation with the Woo. But Krish, what are your thoughts about the assistant GM moving on from Iowa? Do you think this is going to be a big effect on the team?
I mean, yeah, what Coach B is saying is true, which I believe it is. I mean, obviously, I think at that point, man, the owner might need to step in and be the GM. I mean, if you want, constant changes, I'm surprised that Mr. Mann is the GM though, because he doesn't live in the area, but he must be doing that. He must be there in the off season too. But I mean, I don't know, man. Right now they're focused on a playoff run. I think their attendance has been okay this year. I think the GM job to worry about everything, and I think the production value has definitely improved, as the season has gone on. So I think that's a good sign. But yeah, definitely, I do think it is a big loss come off season time for sure.
So look, have y'all noticed? Have y'all looked on the Dallas Bulls page? Victor Mann is still the head coach and GM of the team. So he only has a 1-year contract with the Woo. So once he leave after this season over, they have no GM and no head coach. Take that in consideration.
That's a good point. Thanks for tuning in, Ducon. We really appreciate you as well, man. You are, as far as I'm concerned, the GOAT of this industry. I know, that might be a little controversial take sometimes, but I personally have enjoyed your content for many years and definitely need to get you back on the show here soon when your schedule allows, sir. Trey, what are your thoughts on the assistant GM moving on? And just so we aren't leaving him nameless, it was, I believe, Jarrett Cruz.
Yeah, I just have very surface level thoughts on it. Obviously, not as in depth with it as the rest of the people in here. But anytime mid-season you got people in front office roles leaving, it's never a good sign. It's usually a sign of I don't want to say instability because that's a dirty word in this industry, but it's usually a sign of some things are not necessarily peachy keen behind the scenes. So hope for the best for them. And yeah, it's not good when it happens mid-season, but we'll see how it shakes out. Doesn't sound great.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to follow, especially with all the turnover.
I have a topic that I wanted to mention too.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Tay Brooks, a one and done in Eau Claire.
I think Tay might take that Pueblo job, man. I think that's why he really ain't been putting forth the effort he should in Eclair these last few games because he's focusing on another opportunity.
I don't necessarily know that he's focusing on any other opportunity, but something tells me he will have other offers, if not already having other offers currently. But he definitely seems like he's very focused on Eau Claire from when I've talked to him. I don't really want to get in too much detail, but it sounds like it's not the easiest situation in the world up there currently.
And to put some something in the air out there. The owner of the Woo owns Eclair too.
Good point. Good point. That was a big topic of discussion before the season that the league had taken over.
For sure. I think Cade doing, like you said, everything with the resources. I mean, he has a lack of resources. Like, this is well known. I think he had the least amount of resources in the league. At the same time, though, the guys, you have a Boom Williams, Division I running back. You have other All-American guys. I mean, how are you performing the way, I just it's confusing to me, right? They're getting blown out 40, 50 points, and it's like, that defense, he's supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach, and it's like he's calling the defense and the offense. And, Coach B, I got to give you credit where credit is due. He said that this was going to be an issue, right? When coaches try to call both ways, he shouldn't be calling the offense. He should have hired, if he was given the resources, and we won't know that till after the season, to hire an offense coordinator, because he shouldn't be calling both. He shouldn't.
Astute point. Well, I'll just put it that way. Yeah, that's definitely a concern for sure.
How do you feel, Trey, about the groundbreaking news that a TAL championship MVP Hassan Barakman has left the Duluth Harbor Monsters?
That's big. That's how recent is that?
Yesterday.
Oh, as of yesterday, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that affects the game going on a little bit later today. But the game that will decide the 1 seed between Duluth and Ozarks. That's a big wrench in the works, and you got a team that's white hot in Ozarks versus a team that's going to have to pivot in Duluth. Wow, that's going to be big.
Chris, I've heard it's been some trouble in Duluth this season as well. A lot of players been voicing their opinion. So it's no surprise that Hassan left, because he's been voicing his opinion for the last couple of weeks about him being not happy.
But how can you not be happy? Like, I'm just be real. Like, they have everything they want in Duluth. Even like him and Flowers, Jarvey's my boy. But I'm going to just be keeping a buck for a sec. Like, Duluth is an amazing team, man. It's an amazing org. Like, it's just their stat right now at receiver. I mean, Trey, you see this, man. Like, if you know all the names of the receiver, they must be good, right? Like Dan Williams, Quintavious Workman, Jamal Couch. That's that top 5 core in the country. So, I mean, you can't really be unhappy, man.
When you get too many big names in one place, what tends to happen? You got
Right,
clicks and
but
chemistry.
It's a competitive environment. They want to make it competitive. Ben McCoy wants to build a competitive program, Coach Tony. Right, that's what Coach Tony talked about on Trey's program too, about wanting to build a competitive program, and that's what he's doing. And unfortunately, some guys I don't think can handle that competitive environment, in my opinion.
That's a fair point. I was just going to bring up the fact that Jarvai is gone now, so that's 2 fairly big blows recently to their roster. I don't want to say fairly big blows, but they're 2 blows to the roster as of late. So that's definitely something to keep track of as we move into the last couple of weeks of the season.
Oh, but that means my boy, Southwest Kansas victim Darius Morrison gets more playing time. So I'm hoping that's a big move for him. But no, I can't wait to do a TAL.
Shady, did you just hear that?
Yeah, I know. Southwest Kansas did him dirty. I hear. According to Krish. It just so happens to be Krish's client also, but we'll move on from that topic there. Anything else TAL wise that you guys want to talk about, or are we pretty good and wrapped up on that?
Yeah, I just want to get our picks for today.
Sounds good, and also kind of talk playoff.
And while you get that pulled up, I'm going to selfishly plug the latest episode of Off the Wall. We had Brandon Mackey, running back from Ozarks, on the program, talking about his football journey, talking about this year's Ozarks Lunkers team. So please go check that out if you haven't already. It's on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I had a really fun conversation with him.
He's a baller.
I was going to say, he's a great player. Definitely should be a very interesting watch. So if you haven't watched it already, definitely tune into that. I am sure there's fun topics to discuss with him right now. All right, so we have pull up these games, get it on screen real quick. Okay, well, apparently the schedule is not up yet. Oh, there we go. I am not a fan of the TAL's website. Speaking of things that could use a little work that we were talking about earlier. But
I
here we
think
go.
all the websites should be more informative, honestly. They need to spend more money on websites, especially your league website. You should always have transactions, stats, and scores and standings always on point.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't want to say that it's a bad website because it's got everything you want. It's just a little weird to navigate is all, I guess is what I should have said. But here's the games for this weekend. Very, very crucial week. As you can tell, we're nearing the end of the season here. So playoff implications on all of these games today. So we're definitely picking Eau Claire over the Goats, right?
No, we're going Goats over Eau Claire. We're going Wise Guys over the Woo, and I'm taking Lunkers over Duluth.
Hey, speaking of which, I wanted to give Krish his flowers. I believe he picked Hot Springs last week.
He did. Don't give him too much flowers.
Krish, what are your picks this week?
Yeah, I mean, Boo Smith is still the best receiver in the league. I mean, I sent his stats: 17 touchdowns in 7 games, 698 yards in 7 games. Like, bro, he's on a different level. But give me St. Joe and MVP Angelo Cirillo. I believe he's going to win MVP in the league. Iowa Woo at Hot Springs. Coach Tony said it best. It depends what Iowa Woo team shows up. You know, I mean, Iowa Woo is a hard team to predict, but Hot Springs, man, I know my boy Bones is feeling that heat. Bones doesn't want to miss the playoffs. Let me tell you that. So I feel like Bones is going to, get this W over Iowa Woo. Duluth and Ozarks. So this is a tough one for me. I don't think Duluth has a special defense at all, but they've added pieces with Trey Workman coming from Albany. They had Kevin Simmons there. I don't know if he's still there, but the reality is they have new pieces in the building. With that said, Ozarks, Tyler, Brandon, Akil Greer not playing tonight, but Emory Bryant is taking more of a role. I think Duluth is winning this football game. I'm going to say it because I feel like Duluth has more emotional, pressure to win this game, to be the number 1 seed. Ozarks has great attendance, but Duluth has great attendance. And I already know how bad they want this home playoff game. They don't want to lose out on that money. So give me Duluth to win this football game. And Duluth needs to make sure both teams need to make sure they balance their emotions. This is not a championship. This is a regular season game. You both made the playoffs. Get right and get ready and stay healthy for next week. Because, a 4 seed can win a championship. Ask Coach B what happened last year when a 4 seed played a 1 seed in the TAL. So
I gotta switch my pick, Shady. I picked the Woo over Hot Springs. My bad.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, y'all gotta look at it too. We haven't got our starting quarterback back because Cato hasn't cleared concussion protocols. We've been playing with the leading interception leader, our best DB as our starting quarterback this year. And our other best receiver been playing DB, Ryan Martinez. And we still been doing what we do.
Man, Cato was injury. Come on, man. Cato was never going to come this season. We all know this. So Cato was at home chilling.
Now Cato can't get clear. He would have played in Salina if he could have. Cato can't get clear, bro. You got to realize Cato played with a concussion with us last year, and we never told the doctor either.
I don't necessarily know that was the smartest statement to say out loud, Coach, but I don't know. I don't know if the league can even find you for that.
It was the last game. It was the last game of the season in the playoffs. He got hit. He came back in. It was his choice. It's either win or go home. He's a grown man.
moving on here. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with St. Joseph's as well. I'm gonna go Hot Springs. I'm gonna go Ozarks. I think Ozarks has been rising with Colcomania running wild in Springfield, Missouri, and what Brandon Mackey's been able to do on the ground. I think they have a really, really interesting pick your poison situation where are you going to hone in on the running game? Okay, well, Colca's going to toss it over your head. Oh, you're going to focus on Colca tossing over your head? All right, well, you're going to get ground and pounded by Brandon Mackey. So I think they have a really good offense and a really good system in Ozarks. I think they're going to get the win and secure that 1 seed.
Do you guys think we see Brandon Mackey in another league this next season?
For sure.
I mean, whether it's indoors or outdoors is kind of up for debate. I mean, honestly, I could see him getting some outdoor looks. Wouldn't shock me at all. Anything else you guys?
The Lunkers' best player haven't even had his best game this year yet. Matt Rush hasn't had his best game yet. That's their best player.
I don't agree with that. Brandon Mack is the best player on that football team, but Matt Rush is he's the most versatile player, but he's not the best. Shout out to Matt Rush too for coming on the program last week. But I do want to say I feel like overseas is kind of, I was talking to some of my boys yesterday at the game, before the game, pregame, and we were just talking. I think overseas the perception has kind of changed a lot. A lot of guys who previously said on our team, and that there was a big star player on our team that said in free agency he will consider overseas, and it'll shock a lot of people. But a couple guys said that to me. Hey, I would love to play overseas if the opportunity presents itself. It's better than what I have now, and so it's very interesting to see. I think we see more big time players in indoor try to make that switch overseas.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, there's a couple IFL guys over in the ELF right now that have been tearing it up pretty well, and so I mean that's definitely something to watch as well. But any other TAL subjects you guys wanted to touch on?
No.
All right.
Coaches on the hot seat, I guess. I mean, we already really kind of talked about. I see all the coaches coming back next year. Honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't necessarily know that we're in a position with the TAL to talk coaches in the hot seat just because of where they're at right now in the season and their history as a league. I mean, it's only year 2, so really, which coach do you think would really get removed at this point? But
maybe Cam Ozarks, but I couldn't see it. I mean, just because of the money they paid Tyler.
Only way they let Cam go is because they paying him so much down there, and he hasn't lived up to expectations. But he lives in Springfield. Like coaches, high school coaches, semi-pro, they haven't said nay with him down there.
Makes sense. And I'm honestly of the thought that all these guys return. I mean, unless they get an opportunity at a higher level.
I see Bones getting an opportunity at the IFL level, 1,000%.
He could.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I think he's done a great job in Hot Springs, and I think honestly, if you had any doubts about him before, I mean, as a head coach, then you probably don't now. And I think that's the value of leagues like the TAL as far as coaches go. A guy like Tay Brooks, Bones Bagante, they can go there, they can get some head coaching experience that they may not otherwise get in the IFL because nobody wants to necessarily hire a rookie head coach. And then they can end up going there, IFL, NAL, AF1 with head coaching experience in their back pocket. I think that's a very valuable asset to have with the TAL. So I think I don't know if they're doing that by design, but it seems like they've definitely been smart about the coaches they've been hiring.
I'm definitely proud of Bones. I had the front row seat to watch his maturation as coach. He's really matured over the years, and he's doing great things in the Hot Springs, man. Bones, go win the championship, man. You earned it. So, go do what we couldn't do last year, man. Win this ring for us and then bring it back home to Massachusetts for the ring. Hot Springs for the championship all the way.
Bones might be the head coach of the Massachusetts Pirates next year. We'll see. So we basically exhausted all of our topics on TAL, NAL, AF1. We even touched on some AIF today. And then we also got to the IFL.
Yeah, Coach Steve's NAL guest never showed up. He could never recover from that 21-point loss to Omaha in the playoffs.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll get him on eventually. I'm sure he probably just doesn't want to come on because of me. It's okay. We'll get
I
over it
do want to
eventually.
ask. I don't know if y'all asked earlier, but Trey, any more other new locations you've heard about besides Michigan and Ohio?
Everything's just hearsay at this point, and it's something where you read something on a forum that could be anybody posting anything. So it's I don't know. I feel like we'll hear some solidified news over the next couple of weeks. There might be something going on in well, I'll just say where the commissioner of one of the leagues is based. There might be some news coming out of there on expansion teams potentially on the horizon, and Off the Wall might be making a little appearance there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in the near future. But yeah, I think some exciting news will be happening sooner than we
I
realize.
swear to God, if my team relocates and I see you at any game, oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm going to be front row. I'm going to be the biggest Tampa Bay Pirates fan. You have no idea
I
how
think
big
that's
of
a
a fan I
bad
will be.
move, though. That would be because why not just bring back the Tampa Bay Storm? Because that's a historic franchise.
That makes sense. I got a call the other day that we were just talking, another fan in our base was talking about Orlando Pirates is already trademarked. So Orlando Pirates is a South African soccer team. So they couldn't do Orlando Pirates, but I mean, I hope we don't move. But like I said, I'll be the biggest Tampa Bay fan there is. I'm gonna start the fan club too. So it's Tampa Bay, man. Let's go enjoy the nice weather.
Hey,
Did
Trey.
you just say a South African soccer team?
Yeah, Orlando Pirates. Look it up.
Yeah, the Orlando Pirates is a South African. Yeah,
Well, that's easy to get around. Orlando Pirates football.
there you go.
I was
Easy
going to say
peasy.
that's done all the time. So,
Trey, do you think one of those Southwest or Salina end up dropping down a league or any in the near future, or you think they're stable enough to be there?
No, I think if it would have happened, it would have happened already. I think that the fact that they've reached this point, they're in it for the long haul, and they're self-sustaining as independent organizations. And when you look at small town arena football, they are the blueprint that people need to follow for a town like Dodge City, a town like Salina. Like they do things really, really well there, and I don't see them going anywhere. It does make travel a nightmare for teams going from like Albany to Salina or Everett to Salina, but yeah, I think that's something that they'll, as more teams sprout up, make the travel a little bit easier for all parties involved.
would agree.
They can use it as an excuse when they blow leads.
Yeah. Certain teams are the only teams that have to travel, apparently. No other teams have to travel.
All right. Well, now that we've all discussed that, I think we've finally exhausted all the topics in the IFL, the NAL, the AF1, the TAL, and the AIF today. But there was actually another league that just kind of popped up recently. It is called the Championship Football Association, and they will be attempting to play some 9-man football in the 2026 season. I spoke with the founder of the league quite a bit the other day when I first saw this post because I was curious about the league. They are aiming to be a professional organization. They're set up very similar to the Champions Indoor Football as a nonprofit organization. As Coach B was talking about earlier, there's obvious tax benefits to that for the owners. They are currently looking for team owners, and as of right now, it sounds like the only team that is absolutely 100% in the league currently is the team that is owned by the league founder, Patrick Kelleher, and they will be going in Abilene, Texas. The goal is for this league to be built very regionally. So it sounds like essentially his goal is to set up smaller standalone divisions and eventually create a bigger league. So it could very well end up being a league where we only see, 4 teams in year one, and maybe he eventually adds to that as travel allows. But I do know that he is very open to suggestions, and he is looking for any sort of insight into how to run and build a league from the ground up. So he is looking for some help there, and I think that's just what a smart person would do. So I have my doubts that he can make this happen in 2026, just because the quick turnaround time at this point. But never say never. I just hope that he proceeds with caution and make sure that if he's going to run a professional league, it's set up accordingly. So as far as that goes, I wanted to throw that news out there. I mean, I would go follow Championship Football Association on Facebook today, and that way you can keep up to date with all of their updates. But not much really to unpack there, other than the fact that there's now another league coming with another variation of the rule set. We'll have 7, 8, and 9-man indoor football in 2026 if everything works out according to plan. So I don't really want to necessarily spend a ton of time on it, but do you guys think that there is a niche for this 9-man football, or do you think this is too much? Let's go to Trey first. I have a little of insight onto your thoughts on this. But.
Yeah, I think it's unnecessary. And we're just being very, very transparent here. I think there's enough variations of the indoor and arena game, and it seems like everyone wants to be a CEO of their own enterprise, and instead of being able to contribute to something bigger than themselves. So this reeks of that, in my opinion, where a chance to get in with a league that's already established a couple years, maybe a league that's been around for a little bit longer, and helping grow the sport that way, I feel like would be a much more beneficial use of everyone's time and resources in this specific venture. I just don't understand the itch that's being scratched with this new style of football to be played. And transparently, if you look at the press release at the very bottom, the email is an @Yahoo email. That's a bit of a reddish orangish flag for me when you're setting up this league, where like if you want to be taken seriously, have that Champions Football Alliance or Association, whatever it is, have that domain as the email. That gives you instant credibility when you read that. And to me, it's something little, but to me it jumps off the page.
The little things matter, and that was something that I've heard multiple people mention at this point, that it's Yahoo email, and that's fair, man. I mean, it's not super expensive to get an external email if you have a website. The problem is, do they have a website? That's a whole nother thing. So that's part of the reason why I think I have some doubts about them making it in 2026, but maybe 2027, you never know.
I would push for 2027 if I was him, and do what Trey said. Take his franchise in Abilene and join a NAL or something this 2026 season to see if you can do it, see what it's like, to see if you do want to go 9-man route or you just want to stay 8-man. But 2026 and you only got one team and you're still trying to find owners for others, it's going to be hard. Then you're going to be scrambling at the end to put a product together, which might not be the most acceptable product. So yeah, I'll take if I was him, where he can get on the board, talk to other owners, do a year in another league, and then see if he do want to bring 9-man out.
Love that idea. And honestly, I mean, if everything happens that sounds like is going to happen, there could be multiple teams in Texas this upcoming season. So, that could make your decisions really easy in terms of travel, and kind of make your first year costs a little bit more manageable. And maybe that's how you get your foot in and get established with a team, build a fan base, and then you don't necessarily have to all do all the footwork and do all the sponsorship building and all that stuff to run a league in one season. So I think that's a smart decision for sure. Yeah, Krish, any thoughts on that?
Real quick before Krish goes, I just want to clarify. I hope I hope they get all the success in the world. I hope they're the biggest, baddest thing. I hope they absolutely crush it. I personally just don't see where it's going. And to me, it reeks of, you always want to tell people what you've done, not what you're going to do. And this whole thing just, it reads to me as, hey, this is something we're going to do. This is something that we're working on. It feels way early in the process to be talking about something that you're working on. Like, it feels like there should be more established at this point when you make that type of announcement. I don't know. It's just off.
No, completely fair. Honestly, that was part of what I took away from when I talked to him is this seems very early and that he doesn't have a bunch of the infrastructure set up yet. Now, granted, my conversation with him was very brief. I love this comment by In the Alley. 9-man football. What's next? 11-man football outdoors. Crazy times. No, next up is 10-man football, and then we naturally will progress to 11-man indoor football. So, I mean, eventually we'll get to 12-man, and it'll be CFL rules, and we'll just have indoor CFL. It'll be great. But yeah, anyway, I think we've pretty much exhausted all the indoor football topics for today. Other than the
I
fact
do want to give my thoughts on this, though. I mean, just buy your own team, man. Just honestly buy your own team. Like, this is not going to work out. The ENTLFA, I mean, look at how many, like, communities they ruined. They ruined my community by saying they were going to come here and doing their little press conference with their head coach that I'm not even going to start with that, man. Walmart head coach hired. But, I mean, I don't know, man. It's disappointing. I'm just disappointed, man. I don't trust any of the new leagues anymore. I'm never going to. I thought the ENTLFA was going to take off. I mean, Andre Reed was selling it like it was going to be this big thing until he had to face Sed and TJ on Wednesday night. Dude froze like a fucking cupcake. But, I mean, I don't know. No, this league not going to work out. Just quit. Buy your own team. That's my message.
Froze like a cupcake goes crazy. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that going forward.
He killed me with that one.
Are cupcakes frozen? I'm just trying to figure that one out myself, but that's okay. So I think we've covered pretty much everything. I will say that we've got some very exclusive American Arena League 2 coverage coming today. Thank you to that league. They have been gracious with us all season long. Super excited about that. Our guy, Cool McCain, is already on site. That will be kicking off shortly after the bus stop, which will be kicking off in about an hour here. So you got the bus stop at 9:30 a.m. Talk some hip hop, talk some football, some basketball with your boy Cedric. And then after that, after his show, basically almost immediately after, the pregame festivities will kick off on Shady Sports Network for the American Arena League 2 championship game. Once again, super excited about that. There's going to be a lot of cool things coming. Some big time announcements in the pregame and halftime show, both of which will be going out on our network. So make sure you are clicking the notifications on those. Definitely going to be some big news, and it's not just news that affects the American Arena League 2. So not going to give you any more information than that. You guys are definitely going to want to tune in, especially that halftime show. But pregame is going to be awesome. A lot of pregame interviews. We've got players from other teams lined up to come on. PJ Thomas, who just won the MVP award for the league, he'll be on there. I believe Mike Lee, the defensive back from the Tri-City River Gators, he's going to stop by. He's going to do some predictions for the championship with us. Stuff like that. So get in your predictions, hop over there in the comments right now. Let us know who you think's going to win the game, whether it's the Mississippi Wolfpack or the Jersey Bearcats. And then, give us your predictions for what the announcements might be. Maybe you'll be right on the money with that. But ton of comments rolling in right here after Krish's comment. More like frozen as an ice cream. All those owners in them 4-team leagues should get together, buy one team, find a good league, and dominate. Go Jersey Bearcats. Frozen like a cupcake. Krish, how do you eat your cupcakes? I'm curious and a little confused now. Wish my Tri-City River Gators was at the championship. They will be represented by players there, but they are not there. Beep, beep, Shady Sports bringing that heat. On that note, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We were this close to hitting 200 live viewers today, and I guarantee that's because Trey is here. So thank you so much, Trey, for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. Both of our highest peak viewers have been while you're on the show. So I'm just saying, so there's a connection there.
As I just try to make the indoor and arena football community a little bit better, and I feel like we're doing that every step of the way. So I appreciate the invite on here, and this has been a ton of fun.
Definitely. Well, thank you as always, for giving your time for 2.5 hours this morning. I really appreciate that. But any final thoughts from anybody, or should we just hit the outro?
Yeah, Trey, appreciate your time. I hate you during the season, especially during IFL season, but now, I can like you and respect you because, you're not doing the whole stuff that you like to do, switch teams mid-season. But now you can just stay on your side, and I respect you, man. Keep doing, honestly, keep doing you. You're doing a great job. You're building, you become one of the GOATs of the industry in under a year. So I can't imagine what you're gonna do in the next 5 years. So keep doing it.
I appreciate that, Krish. And look, I speak in truths. I may be a little bit early on the truth in some aspects, but happy that we can be friends again now that the Pirate season is over.
Definitely.
Appreciate you, Trey.
Krish,
To my guys,
Yeah.
Chris and Shady, love y'all.
Pot calling the kettle black there a little bit. I'm just saying. We've talked at length about you switching up teams during the season, so but we'll leave you on that note. Until next week, when Krish has another spicy hot take, we will catch you guys right here, 8 a.m. Eastern next Saturday. With all these leagues popping up, I'm not really sure when we're going to shut down the show for the year, if we can even do that at this point. So make sure to keep tuning in every week. We really appreciate all you guys. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button. Go check out our merchandise on brandingblakes.com and go get yourself one of those off-the-wall polos. I guarantee you will enjoy it.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.